I can't believe, don't go there. I explained myself really well.
You won't be going there.
I don't want to go there.
We should make him go there.
Last time I went there, we won 6-0.
Oh, he's thrown that one in as well. Can I ask you a quick word on Michael Brighton, on Erling Haaland, who scored again? Just ridiculous, isn't he?
Yeah, I think his stats are absolutely incredible. He just goes season after season, and he's like I said earlier about Vardy being in the right place at the right time. He's got the right place at the right time. He's always there. He runs into the box. He times them to perfection, and his goal at the weekend just shows what he's about, with his strength and then the calmness to just dink it over the goalkeeper. It was a great finish, and I think to be holding off Cucurella as well after the stick that he's given him that summer, the summer just gone, I think that will taste even better.
Mark, I know you're new to this, but you can't be putting Vardy in the same bracket as Haaland.
I'm sure Vardy has scored more goals than Haaland. more Premier League goals than Haaland.
91 in 100 he's got.
Vardy's nearly won as many Premier League titles as Erling Haaland. He's only one behind him. He could equal him this season. Who knows? You never know with Leicester, dear. You're listening to Monday Game Night on TalkSport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Enterprise has 450 branches with all the vehicles your business needs. We've got 15 to kick off here at the King Power on TalkSport.
Monday Game Night on TalkSport with Ladbrokes. Get money back as a free bet up to £10 if one leg of your Football 5 Plus acca lets you down. Pre-match straight line accas only. Odds are 3-1 or greater. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
We all fantasize about our perfect home. Watching the big game cozied up in the snug.
Another 7-0 win!
Balmy summer nights with the kids playing on the lawn.
We're playing real-life football!
But come on, this isn't real. Listen, if you're serious about making your fantasy a reality, find out what your home is worth instantly with a free online valuation estimate. Get real about moving. Get on the market. Most common time to obtain an online quote between 1st of April 2024 and 30th of June 2024 was under 3 minutes. Excludes Northern Ireland.
It's McDonald's 50th birthday. So, to get you in the party mood, we're turning our ad breaks into dance breaks. Okay, you start with your left hand behind your head and you put your right arm stretched out in front of you. You're then going to bring these two arms together and do 3 pumps. You can then switch sides and feel free to add a little enthusiastic nose scrunch as you go. And there you have it. You've conquered the sprinkler. McDonald's 50th birthday. You're all invited.
At Betfair, we believe that to play different, you need the right tools. The boots, the world-class tactics, the science-backed nutrition. The pros have their tools, and with Betfair, so do you. Our safer gambling tools work just like the right pair of boots, designed to keep you on top of your game. Open the Betfair app to equip yourself so you can bet at your best. Betfair. Play different.
18 plus, begambleaware.org.
Screwfix Sprint delivers from store to door in 60 minutes or less. So, whatever the job, you can do it with less waiting and more working, less downtime and more doing. So don't break your stride. Screwfix Sprint. Order now exclusively on a Screwfix app. £5 delivery charge, no minimum spend. Don't stop. Sprint. Conditions and geographical restrictions apply. Selected products.
Settle down for a night of crime. Witness a heist. Follow a car chase. Eat too much popcorn. Meet a mafia boss. Join in on a bank robbery. Think about making a cup of tea. Be too comfortable to get up. For less.
Selected IKEA sofas are now at a new lower price, along with thousands of other products. IKEA, the wonderful everyday.
Now that football is back, you're going to want to follow every kick, goal, card, and transfer as soon as it happens. So from Ipswich back in the big time, to Villa in the Champions League, and City going for 5 in a row, you know where to go. Follow it all at thesun.co.uk.
You don't just check in to a village hotel. You work out. You jump in. You play on. You tuck in. And drink up. Village Hotels. 33 locations with everything under one roof. A huge gym with pool and great membership opportunities. And a buzzing pub and grill with delicious food, ice-cold beers and live sport. Check out villagehotels.com and work out, stay, meet and play.
Monday game night on TalkSport with Sky Sports. Stream more Sky Sports football than ever before. Available with no contract on now. Like Leicester versus Tottenham live tonight. Search Now Sports 18 plus. Stream via internet. Terms apply.
Monster Monday Night Football.
Oh, and he's found the net!
Football commentary forged in fire and brimstone.
Brilliant strike!
This is Game Night on TalkSport.
Richarlison dances round him. He still can't score with an open goal. It's cleared by Kirkesh into the air.
Sets Timo Werner away one-on-one. Out comes Johnson. Makes the save to deny Timo Werner.
And somehow Brennan Johnson has failed to score from 4 yards out.
You need a number 1, number 9. I know you've done well with that, Kane. I get that, all that. Son is not a number 9. He might be able to fill in.
And Solanke has dinked it into the corner. Bournemouth have turned it around.
But he's exactly the type of player that Tottenham Hotspur need. You can see in your mind's eye now, James Maddison getting on the ball 30 yards out and threading one of those passes through, and Solanke going through, rounding the keeper and scoring.
Solanke's now found himself at the Premier League level.
As I said, we're looking for improvement. Well, we needed to improve in the front third, I think. I think we have with bringing Dominic.
Solanke inside the penalty area, who rounds the goalkeeper and scores the equaliser, and out of nothing, Bournemouth are level.
It's Monday game night on TalkSport with Ladbrokes 18 plus BeGambleAware.org as Kasabian gets going and the pyro starts flying into the air here at the King Power Stadium. The Premier League is back here for Leicester fans as they take on Tottenham tonight on game night on TalkSport. Just a piece there on Dominic Solanke. Danny Murphy, £65 million for him. Postecoglou has talked about his mentality, being at big clubs, not succeeding, then going to Bournemouth and working his way back up to have another opportunity at a big club, going again after not succeeding. He also talked about signing him, not just about goals, but his mobility and his ability to press.
Absolutely crucial to what Postecoglou wants him to do. I really like him. I love it. Yeah, his work ethic's terrific. He's a good size, a good presence, intelligent, and I do think, although he failed when he moved, when he went from, I mean, he was a young lad obviously when he went from Chelsea to Liverpool, but just being around that big club mentality will help him when he walks through the door at Tottenham, because he's kind of been around that environment before and you're not new to it. So I really hope he does well. I was just saying to Mark, I hope he starts well, because any striker wants to get off to a good start. He could be a huge player for them.
And the stats back up the assessment that he is one of the, if not the best pressing forward in the league. Certainly last season he was the most effective, applying pressure on opponents almost 100 more times than his nearest rival, and those pressures resulted in 176 turnovers for Bournemouth, clear of any other in that range.
So Danny, does that explain to anyone who's asking, well, why go for Solanke when Ivan Toney's there?
Absolutely, yeah, and if you mirror that with the end product of his goals, of course. So yeah, it's exactly what Postecoglou was looking for. Just a really quick one on it. I think it'd be fascinating. I don't know whether he'd have had the conversation when he walked through the door with the manager about penalties. Because I couldn't imagine Haaland obviously went to City, I'm taking pens. Shearer walks through the door wherever he went, I'm taking pens. All the top strikers, I want pens. I wonder if he's had that conversation before he went, because Son's a legend anyway. Son, I know he takes the pens, but he only took them because Kane's left. So maybe he'll get the penalties too, which will help him hugely.
Yeah, quite possibly. I think the other thing about him is he's durable. He played 97% of the available Premier League minutes last season.
That is impressive and necessary.
He didn't do 97% of Monday nights last season. And he doesn't even have to run around.
You won't be this year because you're not going to Ipswich.
Ange did actually say as well that they look a much better side with Son on the left. Obviously Solanke coming in means it's a natural fit for Son to go out on the left. As far as Leicester are concerned, Oliver Skipper's come in from Spurs. That's been completed today, Mark Albrighton. You were on breakfast saying you could understand the signing this morning. You also talked about Leicester needing to be strong as a team. What do you mean? Pack midfield or what?
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad signing. I think it's a good signing. He adds quality. He adds a bit of experience for the Premier League. I do think that. I'm surprised that they've spent that money on a midfield player, especially one that will probably sit a little bit deeper, when I think the priority at the minute is a striker. Whether there's plans for that, I don't know. But I think in terms of the strength, I think they need to be resolute. They really need to stick together at times. They need to not concede cheap goals. They need to be hard to play against. They need to make sure teams work hard to break them down. If they're gonna score against them, they need to work for it rather than give goals away sort of at will. Set pieces, huge. Don't concede from set pieces. Make teams break you down. Make them produce a bit of magic to get by you. I think that's what I was saying.
Ange Postecoglou has come out of the tunnel and the players are on their way out as well. In the time Spurs have been waiting for a trophy, Leicester have won the Premier League title and the FA Cup, but this season they just want to stay up. Ange Postecoglou has a history of winning titles in his second season managing clubs. This is his second season managing Spurs. He couldn't, could he? Leicester Spurs on game night on TalkSport with Leicester Premier League title winner Mark Albrighton, former Spurs midfielder Danny Murphy, and your commentator Sam Matterface.
The last fixture of the opening weekend of the Premier League is here. Are you ready for it? Well, that was the question that the Leicester fans were asking this week. Promotion was great, even if the journey wasn't entirely smooth. But the Foxes have lost their manager, lost their player of the year, lost the man who scored their first ever Champions League goal, lost both strikers to injury, and before they've even got any, people are talking about the looming threat of them losing points. They've lost face too. The fans irked by being charged too much to watch a pre-season game, frustrated by the £25 extra charge just to print out your season ticket, and miffed by the choice of new sponsor, a crypto gambling company with no legal permit to operate in the UK. But all that's just pre-season noise. What matters is what you do on the lush green turf that is twinkling in the Leicestershire dusk. The King Power, always atmospheric, but those planted inside the Blue Bowl know that it is in for a season of battle. Tottenham arrived settled, and with a new £65 million striker, Leicester could only look enviously at. Maddison is going to prove Southgate wrong. Son is going to thrive playing with a proper striker. The players that were injured last season will only enhance competition, and everyone knows what happens when Postecoglou takes charge of a second season at a new club. But all that is just pre-season noise. What matters is what you do on the lush green turf that is twinkling in the Leicestershire dusk. Tottenham Hotspur in white-bodied shirts with dark blue sleeves, navy shorts and white socks. Leicester City decked from head to toe in royal blue with thick white trim. The two teams look like this. Hermansen is the Leicester goalkeeper, Justin Fast, Vestergaard and Christensen the back four. Ndidi and Winks holding. Buonanotte will play in the 10. Matawu and De Cordova-Reid flanking Jamie Vardy, the captain, who is back. Tottenham got Vicario in goal, played well at the start of last season. Pedro Porro is the right back. It's Romero, Van der Ven, Udogie at the back. Sarr, Bentancur and Maddison. Johnson and Son flanking Solanke. Now the mood around this place has changed very much so from when Craig Shakespeare was in the dugout as support to Claudio Ranieri, Nigel Pearson, and then won the right as manager to take charge of Leicester the year after they won the league. Tonight, Shaky, the man with two balls, one under each arm, the man who went on an incredible journey with Leicester, is honoured after his premature passing in the summer. A minute's applause for the late Craig Shakespeare.
We will forever be remembered with love by everyone.
don't think I can ever remember a time when I didn't see Shaky with a smile on his face. He was a man of sunny disposition. What was he like to be around, Mark Albright?
It was a breath of fresh air. He really was. He lit the place up, lit the training ground up. It gets said quite often when people pass away, but he was honestly, at the training ground he was immense, and he was a king of one-liners. Everybody took to him, everyone respected him well, and he really mastered his role as a coach as well. He had that to a T. He knew how to interact with everyone and what everybody needed as people.
We're about to get underway at the start of the Premier League season for Leicester and for Tottenham. Before we do, all 22 players take the knee in further support of the No Room for Racism campaign, and as a gesture to ensure there is no discrimination in our game. On average, this fixture sees more goals than any other in Premier League history. The last 5 Premier League matches have produced 28 goals. That's nearly 6 a game. To enjoy the fun, Danny Murphy and the man who scored one of the most famous goals in Leicester history, Mark Albright, are here. Gents, how important is the first 15 minutes for the Foxes?
I think it's more important for Leicester than Spurs, yeah, absolutely. Especially to keep the fans on board, keep them with you. We saw, especially in the Ipswich-Liverpool game, how good the Ipswich fans were getting behind the team, who had a real good go first half. I think Leicester have got that little bit more experience than Ipswich, of course, but it's important that the fans stay with them. And that means the players need to stay in the game.
Vardy trying to get in behind, running up alongside Pedro Porro, who just gets in front of him and manages to flick the ball behind. We wondered what Vardy's role might be and how he might be utilised tonight. And certainly, with Tottenham playing that high line in defence, the ball immediately was released over the top and he went for it. Attacking the goal away to our left, Leicester in possession just short of the halfway line in those blue kits, and hoping to settle back into Premier League life very quickly. How important do you think the start is, Mark?
Yeah, I think like Danny said, I think we really need to start well, Leicester, so it's probably more important for Leicester than it is for Tottenham. I think they need to take the momentum from last season's success and really build on it, because football's a lot about momentum, and Leicester City fans have seen that in previous seasons, good and bad. So I think if they can carry that over from last season, I think it could be crucial.
Ball kick cleared by Hermansen, straight down the middle of the pitch. It's over the head of everyone. Fatawu turns and says to Hermansen he needs to get him up with a better delivery than that. The rain coming down now in Leicestershire, and it's swirling around, the floodlights burning brightly, and that will slick up the turf down in front of us. Papsar, who was nudged to the floor on halfway in front of the dugout, which Ange Postecoglou, the big burly Australian, is patrolling down in front of us, but gets up to provide a pass via Romero to Van der Ven. Back with Guillermo Vicario in the Tottenham goal. Long, tall, slender figure wearing a bright yellow goalkeeping outfit tonight. Plays the ball to the Argentine Romero, played 5 times at the Copa America in the summer. Slips it across to Van der Ven. Both of those had very truncated pre-seasons as a result of their exploits with their nations, although Van der Ven didn't play too many minutes in the European Championships. Romero up towards Solanke, who uses physicality to tussle with Yannick Vestergaard, and a free kick is given against the Big Dane.
It's good from Solanke. It's interesting when Tottenham build up how close the Doggy and Porro are, who end up sometimes they're the two closest to Solanke. It's incredible, really.
Well, I don't think the system's going to change for Tottenham Hotspur this season. It's going to be very similar to the way that they approached it last campaign. Here on the left-hand side, Son trying to steer the ball into the centre, down the wing, looking to get it into the middle of the box. He crosses it, takes a deflection off Justin, and flicks behind for the first corner of the game.
The thing is with that, Sam, though, is the discipline of the Leicester players to communicate when the winger lets the fullback go and someone else picks him up, Mark, you know, in the team when people are swapping positions like that. It's the communication.
Yeah, especially when you're playing against a team with good rotation like Spurs have shown under Ange. it's going to be crucial. Communication is massive.
Corner comes in, it's flicked away by the Leicester defence, picked up by Son, 10 yards short of the halfway line, wide on the left. He sends it back to Destiny Udogie, who ended the last season actually with an injury, had a bit of a problem in pre-season as well. Big season for him. He was really good at the first sort of portion of the campaign. Destiny Udogie. Maddison, same sort of goes for him. Bentancur on to Romero slips it down the right. They're on the touchline on this near side with Brennan Johnson, the Welsh winger. Back to Romero again, a bit more patient. Everyone behind the ball for Leicester City at this moment in time. Porro tries to force it in towards the middle of the attacking third before it's defended and sent back to halfway, but Spurs have regained it just inside Leicester territory. It's on to Udogie once again, who wanders down the left side, just pushes it into the path of Son. He goes backwards into Van de Ven. They will want to defend high up the pitch, keep the ball, play through the thirds. Tottenham Hotspur use the fullbacks inside to add extra numbers. Pedro Porro up alongside Solanke at this moment in time, and here he is flicking the ball round the corner, but he's lost it, and Harry Winks, the former Spurs player, picks it up in midfield. He's chased by Bentancur, gives it to Ndidi, who is dispossessed by Johnson. Good tackle up to Solanke from Maddison, edge of the area, goes wide, then follows his run into the box. Son's got it now, tries to trick his way up against Justin, gets to the outside, then to the byline, turns, waits for the run down the outside by Maddison, plays it against the retreating winger Fatawu, and it goes out for a corner over on the far side.
Fantastic press from Tottenham when they did lose the ball. It was Porro who lost the ball actually, not Solanke, just giving him a little break there. You said it was Solanke.
I said it was Porro.
Oh, did you? Sorry.
You weren't listening.
I rarely do listen to you. But what about the reaction from the Tottenham players? Brilliant to win it back. Now they've got a corner.
Over on the far side to be taken by Maddison, as you would expect. He's in towards that near post, the flick on by Bentancur. It's cleared off the line. A wonderful clearance. I think that was Ndidi who got back and scooped it off the line. It comes back towards Brennan Johnson, whose volley is parried away by Hermansen. And Leicester survived two quick scares 6 minutes into the game. 0-0 the score. Van de Ven turns up the speed and gets beyond Buonanotte and steers it back to his goalkeeper.
Phenomenal recovery from Ndidi off the set play. Didn't win the first ball. Flick on at the near post. I think Solanke's waiting to put it in. Ndidi comes from nowhere. Unbelievable defending.
Van de Ven, 0-0 the score. Last season, Enzo Maresca had Leicester playing an attractive brand of football, but it was patient, it was slow, the fans weren't always convinced by it. Steve Cooper's teams don't usually press as aggressively as that. They certainly won't pass the ball as much as an Enzo Maresca team. It will be fascinating to see how they adapt to life in the Premier League, and Steve Cooper sort of indicating that they would have to take some of the best bits of that style of play and try and work out how to make them work at a higher grade of opposition. Just looking back at that chance, that was a fantastic clearance, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah, I think it was. I think he gets himself in a great position there. We've got to be more wary on the front post of the flick on, but I think
here is Son into the centre. Romero, he gets behind the defence and flicks his header towards goal, and it was saved by Hermansen. The offside flag was up anyway. It was Solanke actually who did get on the end of that, not Romero, and it was saved by Hermansen. Offside flag was
did he put it up? Are you sure? I didn't see it go
up.
It
went straight up over on this near side. You've got to look at two areas. Got two eyes there. Here is Buonanotte through the legs of the defender, out on this left-hand side. Christensen, who was at Bologna last season, flicks it down the left side for Leicester. They're on the attack here, and it's not a great ball, cut out by Romero, then cleared by Porro, and then upfield by Brennan Johnson. Bout Fast gets there first. Again, Solanke doing good work, causing problems for the defender. As soon as Leicester try to escape with it, he is a real useful tool for Ange Postecoglou. I mentioned that's why
I think Brennan Johnson's going to get a yellow card when the game stops. He did a cheeky little trip on Buonanotte and the referee saw it.
The referee is Chris Kavanagh, by the way, and there is a VAR who is involved today, as you would expect. David Cooper, he's been told don't interfere unless you really have to.
He's not going to book him. Got away with one there.
Here on the near side is Romero infield to Mickey van der Ven, collected by Udogie, and then out to Son far side. Maddison trying to scurry down towards the corner flag, but Justin is there for Leicester to receive it in the right fullback position, steer it centrally, and then Leicester looking to try and build out from the back, just overplaying slightly, and the Tottenham press has succeeded in winning the ball back. Son to Udogie, bounce into the box, looking for Johnson. Christensen coming across on the cover, does well, and manages to clear and get it over the halfway line.
He finds himself in great positions, Udogie. It was a turnover again, poor play from Leicester, good press from Spurs. Can't quite pick out the final pass, but got to be careful, Leicester.
Guillermo Beccaria coming out and playing as a auxiliary central defender, or higher than Christian Romero as they played out from the back on that occasion. The signs weren't great for Leicester in pre-season. They lost their final 3 pre-season games without scoring a goal, including a rather concerning defeat to Lens by 3-0 last weekend. And Steve Cooper did say don't read too much into pre-season. He picked a team and rearranged it really to get minutes into legs rather than trying to work on anything tactical. It's all about tonight. 10 minutes gone, 0-0, but here's Son down the left-hand side, getting to the byline. Ball pulls across the face of goal. It takes a deflection off Fass and goes behind and away for another Tottenham corner.
That's the quality of Maddison. Biding his time, then picking out Son, opening Leicester up now a little bit too easily. Again, couldn't quite get that final pass.
Maddison preparing to take the corner. Son is lurking on the edge of the 18-yard box. It's a packed penalty box with all the blue shirts inside it. It's flicked on at the near post. It was a Tottenham head that got there first. That took a little flick of a Leicester body and goes out for a second successive corner over on this near side. And that's quite a few corners now that Tottenham have had and caused problems from. They had a terrible habit of conceding goals from corners towards the end of last season, Tottenham Hotspur, at which point Ange Postecoglou rebutted any advances to try and appoint a set-piece coach. Here is Pedro Porro flicking the ball into the centre. It's Romero with the header, and he steered that one narrowly wide of the left-hand upright. It was an instinctive header from Romero, just out-muscled the defender who was marking him. It was a really good cross from Pedro Porro, and it was close to the opening goal.
It was a super pass. I mean, you got to be pressing the ball better there in the wider areas. But when it goes in, we know how good Romero is in the air. Oh,
they've given the ball away again, and Tottenham, who won it back high up, almost turned it over well enough. It was a poor throw out by Hermansson, and then Son got hold of it, and he caused all sorts of problems. At the other end, Fatawu getting the better of Destiny Udogie. It goes out of play, and it's away for a throw-in over on the far side. Leicester have got to be a little bit careful. The momentum certainly with Tottenham Hotspur in the opening exchanges, Danny.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think Leicester have made a few of their own problems. There's nothing wrong with trying to play out occasionally, but if you've lost one or two, give everyone a breather, maybe play a few more percentages. And I think, Mark, as well as set plays, they haven't got the first contact on any of the first 3, have they?
No, I think, like you said about the playing out from the back, I do think that there's a time and a place, and I don't think that was it then. And did he receiving it so close to his own goal?
Papsar out wide towards the left, collected by Son, reverse pass down towards Maddison, low ball into the near post. Solanke sort of collided with it really, and then was bumped in the back, fell over, and the ball ricocheted behind and away for a goal kick this time. But again, it was just a little bit too easy for Tottenham Hotspur in those wide areas.
Yeah, it's a wonderful switch from Bentancur, played through the lines, ends up out wide where they get a 2v1. And Maddison tries to pick out Solanke. Really, Solanke's made the near post run. He needs to miss him out. It's good defending from Fass, but good from Tottenham again.
Van der Ven taking the ball down after Leicester have attempted to clear but failed to get into the Tottenham half. That was a little bit of frustration boiling over from Fatawu, whose signing was made permanent in the summer after a good season last year, in which he got 7 goals for Leicester. He's given away a free kick in a wide area, wide on the left-hand side.
Fatawu has got to really work out what he's doing when Udogie flies forward. When's he passing him on? If he isn't tracking him, is he going to go out to Son and let the full-back take him? That's the communication we were talking about earlier, because the way Udogie plays, it's really difficult for the right winger to track him all over. There's got to be better communication, otherwise you'll get overloads.
Well, Maddison, who is going to preside over this free kick, does so in what is now driving rain here in Leicester. It's a right-footed ball in towards the near post. Doesn't get enough height on it, and Decordover-Reid manages to head it clear.
Yeah,
Comes back out towards his near side. Pedro Porro into the near post, and Solanke was there again, guiding his header this time straight down the throat of Hermansson. It gives you that, an aerial threat. They didn't have that last year, Tottenham Hotspur. But those crosses that can come in from wide areas now have someone to aim at.
Good movement, wasn't it? Waited his time, good ball in, gets across the centre half, exactly what you want your striker to do. Really good. He's unlucky.
He also doesn't give anyone a moment's peace. He was closing down Hermansson then as he tried to clear. He managed to get it up over the halfway line, but only just. Christensen will take the throw for Leicester City on this near touchline, 12 yards inside Tottenham's half of the field. Maddison goes to chase him. Christensen gets it back to Fass. It's all the way to Winks. Winks tries to get away from the harassing of Solanke and Papsar, who now takes over goalkeeper pressing duties. Son now closes in on Vestergaard, who turns and just about squeezes through the gap. Now there's room for them to play, but indeed he's played a poor pass and given it straight to Pedro Porro. Christensen fouled Porro as he looked to escape, and the free kick is Tottenham's. 15 gone, 0-0. Here's Mark Albrighton.
Yeah, I think it's been very much Tottenham that have had the onus in this first 15 minutes. I think they've really settled into the game well. I think Leicester have struggled to settle into it, give away a few sloppy passes deep inside their own half, and Tottenham look like they're creating stuff, the movement again, and they're not scared to put a ball in the box, especially now they've got Solanke in there, and they're putting some good deliveries.
Maddison over on that far side for Spurs, has lost the ball, gone down, and now they're running away with it. Buonanotte dispossessed him. Fatawu picks it up, clips it out towards the near side. Decordover-Reid now on the left edge of the Spurs penalty area, on his right foot, guides it back towards Christensen. There's a little touch from Johnson which steered it out of the Danes' pass. I mean, he couldn't quite run onto it. But here they come again. Justin into Buonanotte, picking it up and feeding Justin again. Buonanotte then scurries down the right hand side, tries to take on Bentancur. That was just a little bit ambitious from Buonanotte. Sort of just ran straight into him and thought that he could get beyond him. Didn't quite have the ability to do that. Two South Americans colliding. Eventually Leicester win a throw, level with the edge of the Tottenham penalty area, goalless.
It was interesting on that counter then when Fatawu, he was one-on-one on Van der Ven, and Van der Ven's body language went, go on then, knock it and run. And in the Championship last year he must have done that, ran everybody. And he thought, no, I'll tell you what, I'll come back inside and switch it. But good break, first little bit of counter-attack from Leicester there.
Well, they've given away what was a promising area for a throw-in, straight to the Tottenham captain, Heung-min Son, and then Harry Winks, who knows him well, just gets a little bit more reacquainted with him by getting too close and dragging him to the floor and giving away a free kick deep inside his own territory. Concentration will be key for Leicester City, but they do have threats on the break, and Tottenham Hotspur did concede a lot of goals last season. They've conceded over 60 goals in each of the last two campaigns. It's very difficult to finish in the top four if you do that. Here's Johnson down the right hand side, low ball into the near post, blocked by Fass, and it goes out for another corner.
Just lacking that bit of quality. They're getting in some great positions, Spurs, just a bit rushed in their passes. That's why they're getting these corners, just smashing it across the box, that are taking their time to pick that pass out. But another good switch of play, wasn't it, from Maddison?
He's got that ability. It was reported that he wants to use the disappointment, the anger, the frustration that came with not being picked for the European Championships to fuel a great season this campaign. Ball into the near post, goes all the way through to Son on the edge of the area. His strike takes a deflection off Decordover-Reid, and it goes out for a corner on this near side. Is that the sense you get from him, Mark? He's a mate of yours, that he's using the disappointment of the summer to prove everybody wrong?
Yeah, he will be. I remember before he got into the England squad, and he was forever looking at stats of players that were playing in his position at the time in the England squad, and he was trying to compete with that. So it means so much to him. So he will be using it as a driving force to get back in there.
Taking their short corner here, this time to Son from the left-hand side. Tottenham on the attack down that wing. Buonanotte is beaten by Son, but the cross isn't great. And it goes right through the penalty area, over the crossbar and out for a throw-in away to our right-hand side. You're listening to Talk Sport on a Monday Night Football, coming to you live tonight from the King Power Stadium in Leicestershire. And Ollie Skip is part of the Leicester contingent down in front of us. He transferred between the two clubs just yesterday. I think they'll do a bit more business over the course of the next week or so. Statistics pretty grim reading so far for Leicester City. No shots even off target, no block shots, no nothing. 5 from Tottenham, 4 on target, 66% possession for the away side, and they keep getting it back off Leicester, and Maddison has steered it wide towards the right, and Johnson tries to tee up Maddison again. Lovely touch into Solanke, looks to try and turn, but it was being pulled by Vestergaard, and eventually Hermansen comes and picks it up on the edge of the 6-yard box. But that was another opportunity that came about after Leicester had given it away cheaply.
Yeah, poor from the goalkeeper, but when Tottenham did get in there, I just think Maddison, no, it's probably right to try and pass it. I thought maybe could have got a shot away. Solanke just loses his footing. Don't think there's enough there from Vestergaard for a penalty, but too often they're causing their own problems, Leicester, and they'll get punished if they keep doing it.
As a player, when you're out there and you know it's not working the way you want it to, who calls the shots and says, right, okay, we need to change up here? What senior player does that? Is someone going to be out there doing that now?
Yeah, I think there's got to be a collective group of them that in moments like this, when there's a little bit of a pause for a free kick, there's got to be 2 or 3 that have got to speak amongst themselves and try and get instructions to everyone to probably just weather the storm a little bit, get together, regroup, and make sure that just reassure everyone to try and keep the ball, because a lot of what's been happening so far is from Leicester's sloppy passes.
But it starts with the keepers. The keeper makes most of the decisions, Sam, and if you've got a good... I mean, I played with one of the best I ever played with, Mark Schwarzer, and even when I'd scream at him to give me the ball because I wanted to get on it, if we'd had a couple bad 5-10 minutes, he was going long, and we were squeezing up and getting some territory.
Well, they have a free kick here in opposition territory, and they've taken it short to Decordova-Reid from Winks, who clips it into the air. It's dealt with by Romero, who hooked it out player on the far side. It's out for a throw-in, level with the edge of the Tottenham penalty area for Leicester City. 0-0 the score. They have had shots on goal. They have had a bit of a storm to weather Leicester City so far, but it is still goalless, and they'll take solace in that. Buonanotte trying to move it forward, flicks it over the top towards Decordova-Reid. It scoots over his head, it's a little bit too long and bounces behind and away for a goal kick out to our left.
It's unlucky. I like Buonanotte. I've seen him a few times for Brighton, twice live. He's got a lot of talent, he's brave, he'll take risks. Need to get him on the ball as often as possible.
Here is Decordova-Reid on this near side, dispossessed. Didn't see that Johnson was coming from behind him. He was not looking in his wing mirrors. I don't know what that screaming's all about. I thought I'd gone to the Taylor Swift concert again.
I think there's a fan club behind for Mark.
My dad got tickets in the end, didn't he?
And just to have that Taylor Swift conversation, you liked it, didn't you, Mark? You went as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I was took there with my children. Yeah,
don't blame the children. You just wanted to go.
You went without the children. That is something that a lot of people...
I didn't just go on my own.
People who are listening, who want to try and create a picture of you in their head, they've now got one.
Here is Son over on the far side, left edge of the penalty area. Bentancur loses the ball. Fatawu goes out into the right fullback position and looks to try and clear it for Leicester City. It's a long ball up towards Vardy, and Van de Ven got there just first and then managed to pinch it and send it back to Romero, and they build again Tottenham Hotspur, who are coming in waves towards that Leicester City goal. There's only ever been the briefest of respite so far for that Leicester defence. It's had to work very hard to keep Tottenham at bay up until this point.
I still think it's the right way for Leicester to play, though, to try and get a low block and get together and keep the distances small.
Here is Sarr down the right side, getting in behind the defence and then swishing the ball into the middle, and then Wout Faes in an uncomfortable position, and he has to eventually sort his feet out to clear. Cario coming right out of his goal again to join in the play on the base of the centre circle inside his own half.
Yeah, he doesn't need to do that, does he, really?
I'm sure you'd tell him as well if you were playing in the middle of the Tottenham midfield. Here's a doggy over on the far side, giving it back to Son once again. Son, who had a productive season last campaign, 17 Premier League goals, 10 assists last year, and I think he'll be pleased to have a centre forward like Solanke in the team, and here he is holding the ball up well, sending it back for Maddison. Lovely little body swerve in the inside left channel. He sends the ball into the centre. It's away by Christensen and out towards the far side, and back with Maddison once again, fighting and scrapping but losing out to Fatawu, who nudges it back to Justin, and then Buonanotte picks it up. He tries to turn, but Tottenham's high press is effective. They've won it again. Udogie runs into Fatawu, plays it off the Ghanaian, and it goes out for a throwing level with the edge of the Leicester penalty area.
So good. I saw the movement from Solanke, and that Maddison outside of the right foot sees him, plays a little 1-2. All of a sudden they're in. Little cross from the left-hand side. That's the link-up you're going to see from Maddison and Solanke. It's the first time we've seen it. Two intelligent footballers who will enjoy playing with each other. Brilliant little move it was from Solanke. I was watching him, just the last second it was, and Maddison knew he was going to be there. Little bounce pass round the corner. Terrific to see.
Well, Maddison playing well, getting on the ball, dictating things for Spurs. He has great vision, great ability to supply the right pass at the right time. Son into Udogie on the overlap on that outside, low cross into the centre, which no one in white can meet. It's cleared away, but only as far as Bentancur, then given away by him, and Vardy will send Buonanotte away. It was a bit behind him, and he's dealt with it well. He's put it through the legs of Papsval, and he's found Jamie Vardy, who steers it out to the left. Christensen trying to get the better of Brennan Johnson, who does brilliant to cover the ground and times his tackle impeccably. Nicks the ball, gets up, runs down the wing, falls over, gives it to Christensen. There's a tangle between the two, and then it's a free kick to Leicester just short of the halfway line, one on this left-hand side.
Yeah, I think with that pass out from Vardy there to Christensen, I think Christensen can commit more to it, because I think Brennan Johnson has made his decision early that he's going to slide in, and I think the ball was there for Christensen to be able to knock past him, but he hasn't done so. And great work from Johnson, great defensive work, and just an unfortunate fall over the ball.
Good reaction actually from Christensen once he lost it, to get back once he sort of forced him into the mistake, but it's few and far between the Leicester attacks at the moment. They've got to be really careful when they do get out to give the defence a breather and keep the ball for a little while.
Yeah, I think they're struggling to get numbers forward as well. When they do get it, they're struggling to get men up the field, and that's going to be crucial.
Going to make the most of it when they do get it, and when Bobby De Cordova-Reid won it on this left-hand side there, he didn't quite have the right way to pass into Buonanotte, and Tottenham have got it back again.
That was Solanke getting back in to win it back off Ndidi there, just on the blind side. That's the work we were talking about earlier.
Scored by Iraola last year. Iraola, who was the king of those high turnovers when he was in Spain with Rayo Vallecano. He certainly got Dominic Solanke working in the right way. Here's Son, a little reverse pass from Udogie, gets to the byline, low ball in towards the near post, only half clear, comes back to Udogie. There's a tussle inside the penalty area, it's cleared away, but again Tottenham almost sort of like building a wall on the halfway line, and thou shall not pass. Hardly Leicester have been able to make any sort of encroachment into Tottenham territory, apart from the odd sporadic border raid. It's all being played in the Leicester half.
Yeah, they keep getting into those inside channels high up right near the byline and not being able to pick out the pass. I just felt there Solanke, who started the move, could have maybe pulled to the back post. He keeps making that run to near post just to mix it up on occasion.
I've realised why Vicario keeps coming out of his goal to the edge of the centre circle, otherwise he's never going to see the ball.
True, it's probably cold.
But he's off his line now, and they've won the ball back high up. Winks, chips it out towards the left. Buonanotte looks up, didn't release Vardy first time. It's then popped out by Vardy towards the near side, hoping that Bobby De Cordova-Reid would run into an advanced position, but he just didn't quite steer it into his path, and it's picked up by the Tottenham defence and cleared away. They're going to be the ways that they do get in. When they do get in, it's going to be those quick turnovers and then trying to feed Jamie Vardy.
Yeah, and I think Buonanotte he's done really well so far. I think he's been the most, probably the most attacking player for Leicester. He's most comfortable on the ball. He's really looked like the one that's, if something's going to happen, it's going to come through him.
19 years of age. He did play 27 times in the Premier League last season.
I'm sure I've seen him score. I can't remember who he was against now, but he's got real creativity. I mean, he's really brave. He tries to make things happen.
Maddison into Pedro Porro, who comes in and glances a header into the far corner. Maddison with an assist. Pedro Porro with a diagonal run from the edge of the box, running across the defence and glancing the ball home. It was the pinpoint perfect delivery for Porro, who picked out the corner with a glancing header. And Tottenham Hotspur, who have been on top for most of the first half hour of this game, are eventually in front. Magic from Maddison, perfection from Porro, and it's Leicester 0, Tottenham 1.
Well, it's no more than they deserve. You can't give him too much time on the ball. When he looks up, if you give him that much time, he always finds someone. What a run as well. You're talking about your fullback. You're talking about your right and left back continually being high up the pitch in dangerous areas, but Maddison always provides that bit of quality in the final third when you need it. Hence the fact they missed him so much when he wasn't there last season. It's a terrific ball with good pace. He's just got to glance it in there, Porro. But I have to give Porro some credit. I mean, the fitness levels to keep being able to make those runs from right back. And as I said, no more than deserves. It's been a really impressive start from Tottenham.
No defender has had more goal involvements in the Premier League since Pedro Porro made his debut than the former Manchester City fullback. He didn't make an impact at the Etihad, but he certainly made one tonight.
Yeah, he has. Like Danny said, the run is fantastic, but the ball is different class. They've got into so many good areas, and the ball hasn't been right so far in this first half. But that was spot on, and I think that's the thing with Maddison. He can either go outside of his right boot, he could go left boot, he can go inside of his right boot. He can do everything. Yeah. So it's you can't give him that space on the edge of the box and then positions to get his head up and pick that pass out.
The great thing with Maddison, like a lot of the top players who play in that position, is he doesn't mind failing. He doesn't mind taking the risks and failing. And that's the key when you play in those creative areas of the pitch. I saw a wonderful quote from De Bruyne the other day saying about 96% ball possession. He said, well, that will never be me because I won't have made an impact on the game. And he's spot on.
Yeah, I think Bruno Fernandes is exactly the same as well. The amount of things that he tries and passes that he tries that don't come off, but the one that does come off will create something. It'll create a goal, it'll create a big chance.
Here is Papsar out to Son, back into Papsar once again, then into Maddison, who tries to ride the challenge of Ndidi. He knew what Ndidi was going to do.
Yeah, he won the ball, to be fair, but because it's come from behind, he's got to give a foul.
And a free kick has been given 6 yards outside the box, just left of the edge of the penalty area. It is in what you would expect to be James Maddison range. How he would love to cap a return with a goal. He's got an assist already.
Yeah. I did tell my son who does that, what is it, fantasy league?
You're sounding like a granddad, mate. You really are sounding like a granddad.
I don't do it, so what do you want me to say?
FPL, fantasy league.
Yeah, whatever. So
on.
I told him to put Porro instead of a doggy, but he did a doggy, didn't he? But I told him Porro would score more goals.
Porro's in my team.
Is he?
Yeah.
Well, he would be because you're so knowledgeable.
Don't be sarcastic.
I wasn't.
Mark, you got.
Can't you take a compliment?
Let's get one with a free kick. Maddison's going to take it. There's a 6-man with a 5-man wall on the edge of the penalty area, and Papsar standing in front of Wout Faes, just trying to disrupt. But Bobby De Cordova-Reid is about a person's width away from Wout Faes. And Maddison steps up, right footed, clips it to the far post. Brennan Johnson is free and he slashes the ball right through the 6-yard box. And actually, I wonder whether or not he should have finished. It was a tight angle, a difficult one. It came over the shoulder of the defender, dropped right into his path, and from a very tight angle, he slashed the ball across the face of goal. I just wonder whether or not that should have been in the back of the net.
Yeah, I think it should have. Again, the marking, Leicester aren't getting the first contact at all at these set pieces. There was 2 free at the back post, then either of them could have put that across. But
I think they thought he was going to shoot, and switched off. And the other thing there, I saw Son having a little pop at Johnson. I don't think he should be shooting from there. I think he's too acute. I think he should be side-footing that across the goal for someone to tap in.
Well, he did neither in the end.
No, exactly.
And it went far too wide of the upright. And once again, Leicester have had a let-off. We've got 12 minutes before the break. A doggy dealing with Fatawu, brushing off the ball. Muscular and strong and athletic, a doggy, just taking no prisoners.
Thought you were talking about me for a minute.
There's a couple of adjectives that didn't quite fit there, Danny. Here is Mickey van der Ven. Tottenham Hotspur lead by a goal They did have a few defensive wobbles in pre-season, but it's worth pointing out that they didn't have Romero or Van de Ven at all in pre-season, and they're only just getting back up to full fitness. And they certainly wobbled from set piece at the end of last season. Between February and May, they were the second worst team in the league at defending dead ball situations. So Leicester will be thinking that might be a route for them later in the evening.
So much of that was because of the goalkeeper, though, losing his confidence and staying on his line and not being comfortable.
And that all started in the game against Manchester City when they surrounded him.
Yeah.
And then everybody started to do it.
The other thing as well is playing the way Tottenham do, with the high risk and throwing people forward and pressing high and high tempo. You can't be sound defensively all the time. It's nearly impossible because it's so on the front foot and cavalier.
And great to watch if you're a Tottenham fan, which is why they fell in love with it last season. If you remember the beginning of last campaign when they steamed out of the blocks, they got more points than most teams do in the first 10 games of the season. In fact, they've got more points than anyone in Premier League history that didn't go on to finish in the top 4.
Yeah, I think the thing that strikes me about them is how organised they look, both in and out of possession. Out of possession, they're pressing. Everybody knows when to go. Everybody knows where to go. And then in possession, you look at them around the box with their little sliding balls down the side. It's very organised.
Here's Fatawu for Leicester City, looking to try and get the ball into the box from the right side. It's too close to Guillermo Vicario, who grabs it, pulls it into his chest, and will easily bring it away. They've got to have teeth when they get forward, Leicester City.
They have, but he tried to do the right thing. There was 3 runners in the box. It was just a poor execution, but at least he tried to do the right thing.
Vicario playing out, sends it to Van de Ven, left edge of the penalty area, clips it forward into the chest of Solanke, who then tries to volley it out towards Papsar, but just put a bit too much on that, and it goes out and away for a throw to Leicester City 10 minutes before the break. Still 1-0 to Spurs. Papsar with an aggressive challenge on De Cordova-Reid. They just do not give the opponents a moment to breathe, do they, Tottenham Hotspur?
No. And here we go, Vardy's in.
Ball over the top, Vardy is going towards it, but Vicario has come right out and he's headed the ball, but only as far as De Cordova-Reid, who spotted him off his line and went to try and send it over the top of his head, but he didn't get the execution right. The ambition was there, but he was probably about 20 yards wide of goal.
It was worth the go, absolutely worth the go. Keeper's out. It's a 1 in 10 because it's high tariff, it's bouncing about. Actually, he's really good technically, De Cordova-Reid. I think he could have normally you'd expect him to do a bit better. Tried to cut across it, but didn't quite get it right. But it was the right thing to try and do for sure.
Ball clipped forward, missed by Vestergaard. The cross comes fast to tidy up. And Caleb Okoli, who they signed in the summer, he was on loan at Frosinone last season, on the bench tonight. Didn't get in the starting 11. Vestergaard got his place back in the team. Might surprise one or two. Here is Maddison swishing the ball beautifully out towards the left-hand side. Just looked up, one touch, then sent it out to Son, then got it back as he approached the edge of the penalty area. And Maddison goes past the player, gets to the byline, tries to pull it across the face of goal, comes off the post, and it almost ricocheted kindly for Porro. Didn't quite come down for him, and Leicester are able to clear. But Maddison again pulling the strings for Tottenham.
Been the best player on the pitch. Been the best player on the pitch. He's enjoying himself. Can't get near him. He pops it off when they're tight. He picks the right pass at the right time. He finds his forward players when they make runs in behind. He's just having a really dominant half, really expressing all his skills and attributes.
And I'm sure that Mark Albrighton will tell you this is exactly what he expected from James Maddison tonight, coming back to his old stomping ground.
Absolutely. I think as well, I look at the last few seasons that he's had, and he's had injuries, and he's been away international duty. He's not stopped for 3 or 4 years now, and this summer, he got left out of the England squad. He's going to be disappointed, but he's actually had a break, so he can come back to this season now all guns blazing, and he should be fresh and ready to go. And I think the start that he's made in this first 40 minutes he's shown that.
Well, he had a quiet second half to last season after a blistering start in a Spurs shirt. The injury against Chelsea derailed him, didn't he? He was a constant threat in that first 2-3 months of the season. Seemed to settle beautifully into the Tottenham Hotspur setup. And he's certainly back in Vogan in shape tonight.
See, the thing is, when you're trying to keep a shape like Leicester are, Maddison can just drift to where they're not. I'd be tempted, if I was Winks or Ndidi, is to forget a little bit about the shape for a little bit, because people like Sarr, Bentancur won't hurt us as much, and go and leave one on Maddison or get out and get after him a couple of times to let him know he's not going to have it all his own way. The Leicester players are a bit preoccupied in keeping shape and keeping their distances, which is fine, well organised, but Maddison then can drift where they're not and just dictate play. Someone needs to at least get close, put a glove on him and let him know that he's not going to have it all his own way, and at the minute Winks and Ndidi or Buonanotte haven't been able to do that.
And they're almost showing him a little bit too much respect.
They're just too preoccupied with keeping the shape, which is what they've worked on, and sometimes you have to manage the game and go, he's dictating, I'll say it nicely, he's dictating, so I'm going to go and do something to stop that.
Yeah, I look at him, he's desperate for the ball. He's desperate for the ball at his feet. He just wants it. He's trying to find space to create, to get the ball. I just watched him there as the ball went wide, and there was no player within 5 or 10 yards of him on the edge of the box, and he's just finding them little pockets, and he's desperate for it.
Yeah, he's just standing in between Harry Winks and James Justin at the moment, but the ball's been turned over here by Buonanotte. He was tugged back by Doggy. He might have been guilty of breaking up a promising attack there, and is a little bit fortunate not to get a yellow card for that, because Buonanotte had got away.
How can you not give him a yellow? Let's have a look at it again before I judge. He's pulled him back.
It's a yellow card by the letter of the law, breaking up what is deemed a promising attack from Buonanotte, and a free kick has been given 6 yards from the halfway line for Spurs, but no card has been dished out by Chris Kavanagh. But it is an attacking set piece for Leicester City with 4.5 minutes before the break, and it's drifted in by Winks into a dangerous area, but it's too close actually to Vicario, who just made a couple of steps forward and then sent both of his very long arms up into the sky and pulled the ball down to his chest. And Pedro Porro's just been clattered by Decordova-Reid as the two went for the same ball. It's gone out on this near side for a Leicester throw, but Pedro Porro might need just a little bit of attention. He's just got whacked in the side, I think.
For all the love I've got for Porro, he is in a certain category of players that do tend to go over rather easily, let's say.
You don't like that, do you?
Not particularly.
No.
I'm not suggesting he doesn't get touched here, but...
You don't like the histrionics, do you? Different people from different cultures react in different ways to things, Stanley.
True.
I thought you were in the new open-minded era. Here is Maddison on the edge of the area, trying to latch onto another mistake by Leicester City. It comes back to Papsaru, cracks one, it takes a deflection off a Leicester body and goes behind the way for another corner kick. But again, another situation which came about from Leicester sloppily playing out, and then Chris Kavanagh getting a little bit of a rollicking from Jamie Vardy, because he felt that Sarr used his hand to control that before he hit it.
Yeah, I must admit, I did think that was handball, but the referee was right on top of it, so he must have seen better.
Here is James Maddison, right-footed, to send the ball into the near post from the corner. It's flicked by Bentancur into the air. They're still fighting with it at the far post. It comes off Romero, and then Solanke was fighting for it too, and he hits it against the defender, and it goes behind and away for a corner kick. You're listening to Leicester 0, Tottenham 1 on TalkSport with Sky Sports. Don't forget you can stream more Sky Sports football than ever before, available with no contract on now, like Leicester versus Tottenham live right now. Search Now Sports.
I think Leicester have just got to find some belief. They've been a little bit tentative and a little bit fearful in the play. It's all well and good having a good defensive shape, but when you do break out, you've got to have a bit of composure and a bit of confidence about you.
Here's the corner from the other side, whipped in towards the penalty spot. Wout Faes is there. The Tottenham players had drifted towards the near post, and there was a little bit of a gap in the middle of the penalty area. Buonanotte tigerishly winning it back. Tenacious work from him. He's done a very good job so far. He's, I think, endeared himself to the crowd here, Buonanotte, but still so difficult to get out. No options going forward. Once he did get hold of the ball, there wasn't really anywhere for him to go with it. Steve Cooper just standing inside the technical area away to our right-hand side. He knows what the crowd here expect. He knows there's a job to do. I think he's pretty clear that he would like some forward signings in between now and the end of the window. He hasn't been able to get those in as of yet, but they're going to need something to strengthen this squad. It's a long old season in the Premier League. Here is Bentancur, now Papsar. Square ball through the centre circle to Romero, the Argentine. Sometimes can lose his head, but he is a terrific defender. Maddison, brilliant, out towards Johnson, who just took his eye off the ball and invited the challenge from Christensen and then gave it away. How would you assess the first 45 minutes for Tottenham Hotspur, Danny?
Pretty good, yeah. Really good start from them. Played some nice stuff. I do think Leicester have helped them. I think they've contributed to Tottenham's dominance by giving the ball away a bit too easily and taking some silly risks at times when they needed to calm things down. But he'll be pleased, Ange. They've come out really confidently. Maddison's, as I said, been the best player on the pitch. Maybe be a little bit disappointed they haven't scored another, but Leicester have got plenty of room for improvement.
You're listening to TalkSport. Leicester 0, Tottenham 1 on TalkSport with Enterprise. So rent a car. 1 minute of added time at the end of the first half. Michael Brighton, if you were to pick out the positives for Steve Cooper, what would they be?
I think the obvious, that it's only 1-0. I do think that Tottenham could have scored 2 or 3 more in this first half. Set pieces, they've had an abundance of corners, and they've got in some great positions in wide areas, and it's just the final ball that's let them down at times. I'd just like to see Leicester come out second half and try and lay more of a glove on them. I just don't think they've been confident in what they want to do at all, and they've not been able to get the numbers up the top of the field to be able to do that.
I think Buonanotte has done all right. He's been about the highlight. Some nice little touches. He's worked hard. Fans have taken to him. He's about the only other positive I can think of, really.
Chris Kavanagh looks at his watch, knowing that we've played our minute of added time at the end of the first half, blows his whistle. Well, despite winning the championship title, Leicester didn't end the season particularly well. They lost 7 of their final 14 games, and they are in danger of starting this season with another defeat thanks to Pedro Porro's goal, created by Maddison, finished off by Pedro Porro with a glancing header to give Tottenham a half-time lead at the King Power Stadium. It's Leicester 0, Spurs 1.
And I think Leicester City can count themselves lucky it is only 1-0 at this stage. Michael Brighton, what on earth can... You talk about they've got to lay a glove on Spurs, but what can they do differently to change things, to be more attacking, to be more of a threat to Tottenham in the second half?
I think they need to get everybody up the field a little bit more, as much as possible, and at every opportunity just get numbers forward, because when they do get the ball, they're isolated. Buonanotte is like Danny said, been their brightest spark, and but he's finding himself with the ball and looking to go forward, and there's nothing around him. He's very isolated. So I think that's the main thing. But also, I just think they need to keep the ball better. A lot of the chances that they've conceded have been from their own passes, their own sloppiness, and that's something that they can't afford to do at this level. You can get away with it last year in the Championship quite a lot, but at this level you're going to get punished, and they need to be better on the ball.
And Danny, if they do that, if they do push further up the pitch, there's a danger that Spurs will have more space behind them, and Maddison can weave his magic, which he has been doing in this first half already. What do you do with Maddison? Do you go man to man on him, or are you suggesting, listen, Wilfred Ndidi went through the back of him in one incident in that first half, it didn't change a thing. Have they got to do more of that?
I think you just have to recognise sometimes which of the players that can hurt you more, and that means as a player on the pitch sometimes is going against the tactical plan, if you like, to go and impact somebody who's dominating the game so much. Just do something. But in a more collective thing, where I see Leicester being able to cause them a problem, it's not like 100 miles an hour that everybody flies up the pitch and tries to chase them everywhere. It's when you've got some possession, you don't have to play out all the time. You can play some long balls and win some seconds and try and get some throw-ins and some free kicks in the other. Just play more percentages at times. try and give your team a break by letting the keeper kick a few. It's been a bit. We want to show people we're a good team. We want to play. Actually, you're coming up against one of the best pressing teams in the Premier League. You don't always have to play. There's not enough variation in Leicester's play, so you can get up the pitch by some percentage play, and then the fans get a bit more excited. You might get a set play, you might get a long throw, a corner, whatever it may be. You can do it that way. Maddison's a very difficult one to stop because he's so intelligent. But I just think when a player dominates a game so much, that somebody has to do something different, and that means physically.
Yeah, I think what you're saying about getting the ball forward quicker, I think when they have gone long, even that's been sloppy. I think they've got players at the pitch that are too spread out, and it's kicking it into aimless areas. I think they need to get everyone over to one side, get the ball in that area, and if it's a second ball or if it goes out for a throw, just regroup from there and just get the ball away from your goal for a couple of minutes.
The goal itself was perfection in terms of creation, perfection in terms of the header. There's not really a lot, Danny, that Leicester could do about that. Just so much quality about that goal.
Well, there is, because this is they're getting tired because they're getting moved about so much. But when you have somebody like Maddison, like Fernandes, like De Bruyne, all these top players who have this wonderful ability to create, there has to be a plan to stop them. So if you have someone, so you'll be talking with Ndidi and Winks and the wide men tucking in or the fullbacks tucking in or whatever. When he comes in your area, you have got to stop him getting his head up. Now, if that means on occasion you're stopping him but leaving your man and Maddison pops it to somebody else, fine. If somebody else hurts us, we'll have to take that on the chin. But what we aren't going to do is sit off him, because we know he's the best at it in their team.
But let me explain you will have seen what happened, but let me explain to the listeners what happened with the goal. Spurs are going forward down the left. Song's got the ball on the left in an advanced position to James Maddison. Maddison's running towards the penalty box, and then he basically stops.
Drops off.
He holds off. But the Leicester player keeps on running, so he's found himself all of a sudden with acres of space around him. In that moment, do you just have to be more attentive, more alert to what he's doing?
Well, if the movement's great and the guy's gone to help his mate against Son and thinks, I'll have to let Maddison cross this and I can't get there, which is what you're alluding to, which is fair enough. If that is the case, then those in the box have to know who's delivering. So where's my man? Then I've got to be right. Red alert. Where is my man? Because Maddison's on the ball. And then they don't see Porro come from that really late run, that beautiful run. I don't know who he got cut across in the end. Forgive me. He ran across one of the centre halves, didn't he, and got the glancing header. But his body, he didn't see him coming, or the winger didn't track him, or someone didn't do their job. So you can't always stop the source. But the reality is, too many times Maddison has been in that position. There's not been a conscious effort from Leicester to go, we need to put some pressure on him and pass the responsibility to someone else. So there was a few mistakes, but it was a beautiful goal.
Yeah, really good goal. In some ways, Mark, I do feel sorry for Leicester, because last season they're popping it about and playing it around with Maresca. They were so possession based. Now they're in the Premier League. They're under a different manager, so it'll be a different way of playing, and they're going to have to play a different way because they will have far less of the ball. So for some of these players, this is actually a bit of a culture shock, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and some of the players that they bought in last season were bought in for that possession-based football. The goalkeeper, for example, he was great. He made some great saves for us, but ultimately he was bought in because of how good he was with his feet and playing out from the back. Harry Winks is another. The way that he passes the ball around, the way that he gets on the ball, he was very much suited to that possession-based football. So there's obviously that, but I must admit, the way that we played sometimes last year in the Championship, we wouldn't be able to do in this league. We just wouldn't get away with it. It weren't feasible, and you've just got to look at sometimes the squad that you've got, the players that you've got, and is that the right thing to be doing? And personally, I think no. I think that it's important that we know when to play. I'm not saying go long all the time, but I think there's a time to play and a time not to play, and I think we've got to have the experience in the squad to recognise that, and the experience in that back line to recognise that, and at the minute it doesn't look like that's happening in the first half, because it is getting too sloppy, and after 2 or 3 times of giving it away, I think it's somebody should be saying, right, forget that now for the next 5-10 minutes. Let's go long. Let's try and get it long, and let's regroup from there.
The problem Leicester have got, and any team has against real good quality opposition, is when you win the ball back, if a team comes at you in high numbers, normally the out ball is down where the space is, which is where the fullbacks aren't, because they're playing high. The problem Tottenham have got is they've got no one who can outrun Van der Ven or Romero. Even though Vardy's quick, he's not quicker than them. Van der Ven's a machine. So you need to be playing into Buonanotto's feet, and it's quite intricate and difficult to do. And you've got Bentancur in there screening as well. So when you play against teams who have a high line and a really forceful press, you have to have an out ball.
Yeah, and I think obviously Vardy hasn't got probably the pace to overrun Van der Ven, but even the wide players, they've not been involved at all really. In Fatawu and Reed Cordova. So it's difficult for Vardy to do it on his own. I think they all need to be doing it.
Well, we'll see what happens in the second half, whether Steve Cooper changes anything. But Leicester used to having upwards of 65% possession in games last season. They've had 27.3% of the ball in that first half. But they are only 1-0 down live on Game Night on TalkSport.
Monday Game Night on TalkSport with Ladbrokes. Supercharge your odds with our Odds Boost button. Selected markets applies to first £50 of stake. Terms apply. 18+. Gambleaware.org.
Football is back and it's game on. Get the ultimate football coverage with the Sun's free pull-out goals. With the best writers pitchside for in-depth match reports, it's all about goals. And with unrivaled news from the Premier League to League Two, it has to be goals. Stay up to date on all the latest football action. Get your free copy of Goals every Saturday, Sunday and Monday, only in the Sun.
Screwfix Sprint delivers from store to door in 60 minutes or less. So, whatever the job, you can do it with less faffing and more fixing. Less driving, more drilling. So don't break your stride. Screwfix Sprint. Order now exclusively on a Screwfix app. £5 delivery charge, no minimum spend. Don't stop. Sprint. Conditions and geographical restrictions apply. Selected products.
You don't just check in to a village hotel. You work out. You jump in. You play on. You tuck in. And drink up. Village Hotels. 33 locations with everything under one roof. A huge gym with pool and great membership opportunities. And a buzzing pub and grill with delicious food, ice-cold beers and live sport. Check out villagehotels.com and work out, stay, meet and play.
It's McDonald's 50th birthday. So, to get you in the party mood, we're turning our ad breaks into dance breaks. OK, start with your hands up, arms bent, elbows facing the floor and palms to the ceiling. Then you're going to simply lift your hands up and down, up and down, up and down. Add some hips if you want, or a nod of the head. Get funky with it. And there you have it, you're raising the roof. McDonald's 50th birthday, you're all invited.
We all fantasize about our perfect home, sipping a morning coffee out on the terrace. Good morning, Mr. Squirrel.
Morning.
The kids building a treehouse in the garden.
I'm living my perfect childhood.
But come on, this isn't real. Listen, if you're serious about making your fantasy a reality, find out what your home is worth instantly with a free online valuation estimate. Get real about moving. Get on the market. Most common time to obtain an online quote between 1st of April 2024 and 30th of June 2024 was under 3 minutes. Excludes Northern Ireland.
A new football season. And at Betfair, we're here for those who see things differently. Those who see the new players, new managers, new tactics, and see new opportunities. And you can capitalise on the opportunities by building the bet you want. With a completely free ACCA or bet builder available on football each weekend in August. Betfair. Play different.
Opt-in and previous deposit required. Max free bet varies from £1 to £10 per customer. Minimum odds of 1.5 on minimum one leg. T's and C's apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
Settle down for a night of crime. Witness a heist. Follow a car chase. Eat too much popcorn. Meet a mafia boss. Join in on a bank robbery. Think about making a cup of tea. Be too comfortable to get up. For less.
Selected IKEA sofas are now at a new lower price, along with thousands of other products. IKEA, the wonderful everyday.
Monday game night on TalkSport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Enterprise has vans of all shapes and sizes, so if you've got a plan, we've got a van.
Colossal commentary on a Monday night. Join us in the promised land of the Premier League.
Absolutely outstanding.
This is Game Night on TalkSport.
The last fixture of the opening weekend of the Premier League is here. Are you ready for it? This fixture sees more goals than any other in Premier League history. Madison into Pedro Porro, who comes in and glances a header into the far corner. Madison with an assist. Magic from Madison, perfection from Porro, and it's Leicester 0, Tottenham 1.
And as I said, no one deserves. It's been a really impressive start from Tottenham.
Madison's got an assist already this season. Porro with the goal. Spurs lead 1-0. Second half to come. Live on Game Night on TalkSport. Let's get the half-time odds with Ladbrokes.
Odds update on TalkSport with Ladbrokes. Get money back as a free bet up to £10 if one leg of your Football 5 Plus acca lets you down. Pre-match straight line accas only. Odds are 3-1 or greater. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
So Leicester 0, Tottenham 1. Leicester are 14-1 to win it. Tottenham are 1-5, and the draw is 19-4. Son to score anytime was 2-1, now 9-4. That's the latest odds with Ladbrokes. 18 plus. Be gambleaware.org.
Odds update on TalkSport with Ladbrokes. Supercharge your odds with our Odds Boost button. Selected markets applies to first £50 of stake. Terms apply. 18 plus. Gambleaware.org.
As Spurs make their way out onto the field for the second half, Danny Murphy, there's a lot to admire about Spurs game. Ange Postecoglou has got a pretty good machine going with this Spurs side. They could be competitive this season.
Absolutely they could. I still think there's some work to do in the final third. Even though Solanke's given them a lovely focal point, he showed some nice bits. I'm sure he's going to score goals for them. They've got themselves again into lots of brilliant positions and only got themselves one goal. For all the chances they had, they probably should have done. They should have done better, but they have got a really strong bench now. They've got Odegaard coming in from Burnley. They've got Kulusevski on the bench. Werner's on the bench. Richarlison. So he's got choices to change it more than he did last year when those who are playing don't find the back of the net,
or when they're not performing. In that, as we saw with 1 or 2 maybe in the first half, because you're talking about chances being created but not hitting the back of the net. I want to talk more about James Maddison though, because it was almost 10 out of 10 from him in that first half, Mark. I wrote a message down to you saying he is so good, and he really is. There's so much. He's the kind of player you pay money to see.
Yeah, he is. He's an exciting player. You can see why so many people raved about him 2 or 3 years ago. This is the form that he was in. He's got his injury struggles. He's had his injury struggles, and like we said before the game, fingers crossed he can have an injury-free season and produce this week in, week out, because that's only going to be good for people watching, fans, and for England as well.
Was your heart in your mouth when Ndidi went through the back of him? When he was lying there, I was thinking, oh, please no.
Yeah, it was, but I think he expects it from playing with Wilfred Ndidi for so long.
They're back out, Leicester. You can hear the noise. The fans still believe it is only 1-0. Leicester 0, Spurs 1. Second half live and exclusive on Game Night on TalkSport with Leicester Premier League title winner Mark O'Brighton, former Spurs midfielder Danny Murphy, and your commentator on TalkSport, Sam Matterface.
Last time these two met back in February 2023, Leicester won 4-1 despite Spurs taking the lead through Bentancur. So this fixture has been flooded with goals over the years. Even prior to that particular defeat for Spurs, most of the games leading up to it in recent memory have belonged to the team from London. There have been some historic battles. For a time, Tottenham were the closest challengers to Leicester when they won the league. They fought the 1961 FA Cup final, the 1999 League Cup final, both of them won by Spurs. And you're talking about the variation that might be employed by Ange Postecoglou in attack over the course of the next few weeks. If people aren't performing, there is competition for places. Where does Wilson Odegaard fit into that? He's not available today because he wasn't signed in time to be available for this particular match, but it won't be long before he's in the team, and he may well be taking the place of the man who's on the ball now, Brennan Johnson.
Well, he'll certainly compete with him on either wing. I mean, he glides past people effortlessly. He scores a goal, as we've seen. In fact, he scored against Luton the other night, didn't he, in the away game, Burnley, when they beat them comfortably. A PSG academy player, he's wonderfully talented, Sam. I think he could find himself in the Tottenham team quicker than people think. He's just a natural, skillful player who goes past people and has got end product. So he'll certainly be competing, that's for sure. I don't think they brought him to farm him out anywhere. They've paid good money for him, and he's going to be a big player for them.
No changes at half-time for either of these two teams. I'll run through the 11s for you in just a second. Leicester were a second-half team last season. They scored 54 championship goals in the second half, 9 more than any other team. Justin gets the ball back in the right full-back position to his goalkeeper after pressure from Son, then receives it back from Hermansen and clips it down the touchline, looking for Fatawu. Chests it down, but he was being roughed up by a doggy. A doggy won that battle. The referee allowed play on, and then a doggy popped it off to Son, who's progressed further down the left touchline. A doggy's gone on a run in the inside right channel, but Maddison has picked it up in the wing position, tried to pop it round the corner for a doggy, and then Justin just about squeezed it out on this near touchline. Hermansen is the Leicester goalkeeper then. The rest of them all in blue and attacking the goal away to our right in the second half. Justin the right back, Fass, Vestergaard and Christensen the back four. Ndidi and Winks the two holders, with Buonanotte playing well behind Vardy in attack, with the wings being occupied by Fatawu and De Cordova-Reid. Tottenham have got Guillermo Vicario in goal. The back four is Pedro Porro, the goal scorer. They lead by goals to nil. Romero, Van der Ven and a doggy. Sarr and Bentancur, with Maddison floating. Johnson and Son on the flanks, with Solanke leading the line. It's 1-0 to Spurs, and Papsar has it on the cusp of the centre circle, just in front of the Leicester midfield. He sends it out wide, then gets it back. Is fouled by a combination of Ndidi and De Cordova-Reid, and it's going to be a free kick to Spurs, which they quickly take. Bentancur across to Van der Ven, then on to a doggy, left side. Back into Romero, the Argentine, faced up by Vardy. Everybody in Leicester blue inside their own half. Van der Ven on the halfway line, forced back by Buonanotte, and then all the way to Vicario. Steve Cooper spent time during his 6 months out of the game, touring clubs abroad, broadening his football knowledge. He did some self-reflection too, which has added to his belief that he can succeed going forward. I don't think he had to think too long and hard about joining Leicester City, despite previous relationship with Nottingham Forest. There was 6 months between those two jobs. It's not like he left one for the other. He's determined to make an impact in the dugout. He'd love to see his team get back into this game. Here is Pedro Porro, out towards the right, and Johnson trying to get past Christensen, and he plays the ball off the Dane. It's out for a corner.
Yeah, and they were dangerous with the corners in the first half. Got to be careful, Leicester.
Glancing at the Tottenham bench, there's a few new faces on there. Timo Werner is back on loan. Lucas Bergvall is sitting on the back of the bench, waiting to make an impact. And there's a little ironic cheer because I think Tottenham took that set piece before they were supposed to, so Maddison has been asked to go and retake it. Archie Gray on the bench for Tottenham as well tonight. The ball sent in towards the far post by Porro after a short corner. It's flicked away from Solanke, and Ndidi nudges it out for a throw in level with the edge of the penalty area. Again, it's sort of slipped into a familiar pattern, Mark. Yeah. How do you break that cycle?
I think you've got to try and weather this storm again for the first 15 minutes. I think the longer it goes on at 1-0, Leicester will...
Lovely by Solanke, waltzing into the penalty area. Lovely bit of skill, comes back to a doggy, edge of the boxes. Son tries to pop it through to Pedro Porro, and then back out towards the right-hand side. We'll just follow this attack before getting back to Mark Albrighton. Here is Pedro Porro, moving down the right side. He tried to turn, lays it off for Maddison. Maddison again looking menacing, cuts infield, runs along the perimeter of the penalty area, then swirls away from Ndidi, who's chasing him, but he's chasing shadows, and he's got free, and he's gone down the right side into the box, left-footed, trying to strike, blocked by Christensen, comes back out to Pedro Porro. He's a little bit too physical, and the free kick goes against him.
So good, just the last bit again. He should have crossed it, Maddison. It was beautiful to watch. So hard to defend against when he's chopping and turning and twisting and popping it 1-2s. Then he got himself in, it had to go across, and he tried to do one more, but so good to watch.
Yeah, he's balletic at times, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's so composed when he gets in them positions. He's so like he don't rush things. He gets in that position, puts his head up, and he's really controlled.
Here is a doggy into Son. Son dispossessed by James Justin, who managed to get it up to Buonanotte. They've got to make the most of this. It's Jamie Vardy now, played in on the edge of the penalty area. Back to De Cordova-Reid, and across comes Papsar and covers and blocks as De Cordova-Reid pulls the trigger. Don't think it would have counted anyway because the offside flag went up, but it gives just a little bit of encouragement to those Leicester fans who have been starved of entertainment for a while.
It was their best move of the match, but I tell you what, if you ever want to watch a midfield runner get back and do his job and snuff out danger and help his defenders out, Sarr's recovery then was outstanding. Good little ball from Vardy. Bobby De Cordova-Reid nearly in, and fractionally offside. It was the right decision, but brilliant defending from Sarr. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I think, like I was saying earlier, I think why it's 1-0, I think Tottenham will have a certain amount of nerves, and Leicester will have a certain amount of confidence. So the longer that it stays like this, the game's wide open.
I think we've discussed this sort of privately, but it's worth airing. Leicester are the club where anything can happen. They can be 1-0 down in a game like this. They can be the team that you expect to go down at the beginning of the season because they haven't had any investment. But nothing's ever as simple as that with this club. And there's always fight in them. There's always a story. And they're always capable of the unexpected, as you only know too well.
Yeah, and I think as a club they thrive off being the underdog as well. Like, obviously when we did win the league, expectation levels rose, and there was a lot of people that had big expectations of us. But I think over time those have levelled out, and we're back to being the underdog again because people are expecting us to be relegated.
Buonanotte taking the ball out of the sky, couldn't quite get it out from under his feet. Solanke's gone through at the other end, but Vestergaard has gone toe-to-toe with him. Got very physical one another there, Vestergaard and Solanke, but Solanke didn't flinch and he bounced straight back up. Fatawu tries to take it down this near side, and then there was a collision between him and a doggy, and the ball goes out of play and away for a free kick in the right full-back position as far as Leicester are concerned.
It's a poor ball from Son. Solanke's got oceans there. If he can just play a nice pass, he can go one-on-one against Vestergaard. Sloppy from Son now.
He's been a little bit quiet, Son, hasn't he?
Son and Brennan Johnson have both been sloppy with their passing. They're both such threats and got that pace, and we know what qualities they've got, especially Son. It's been a bit sloppy at times when they've got in those final third positions. Just take your time. Be more careful, be more precise with the pass.
Van de Ven clipping it forward down the left-hand side. Justin gets there ahead of Son, but a doggy will win the second header. Son dabs it down. Solanke turns, runs with the ball. He's beaten to it by Harry Winks, and Leicester win it back again. It's a good fight and scrap from them, and then they play neatly out. The Buonanotte not quite precise enough, giving it away, and now Tottenham, who've turned it over, try to slalom their way to the edge of the box, and they are on the front foot, down the right side, collected by Porro, in towards Papsar. Centrally to Bentancur, now Maddison, now Sarr again, flicking it through to Solanke, edge of the box, takes it wide, right-footed shot, saved by the goalkeeper who parries it away. It was straight at him in fairness, but the first real shot in anger from Dominic Solanke, the first real clear-cut chance he's had, and he's denied by Hermansen.
Well, Maddison injects the pace into the move again, doesn't he? It's a lovely little pass by Sarr, takes a touch, Solanke, nice and calm, decent hit as well, straight down the keeper's throat, but half a chance for him. He'd be a little bit disappointed.
55 on the clock, 10 minutes into the second half, and it's still 1-0 to Spurs. Short corner into Porro, then square to Son, and they go all the way back to the goalkeeper via a doggy. And the Tottenham fans didn't like that, even if the Leicester fans did. I don't think Ange Postecoglou liked it very much either.
Don't blame him. There's no thought behind that. It's ridiculous.
It's a bit like that England corner in the Euros that went all the way back to Jordan Pickford that everyone was moaning about. Here on the right side, Porro gets it on the edge of the penalty area, sends it into the near post. It misses Son and went past Solanke's shoulder and goes out the other side and away for a Tottenham throw. Picked up by a doggy. Into Papsar, left side, hugging the touchline, running centrally. Now Maddison picks it up. He's got Porro in front of him. He skips over the ball because Johnson wanted it. Back to Maddison again. 5 yards outside the box. Lifts it towards Son. Away by Justin, but only as far as Johnson, who's in the right full-back position. Back to Pedro Porro. Lots of pressure from Spurs. They're swarming the edge of the penalty area. White shirts buzzing, moving balletically. Bentancur, Johnson, Bentancur. He's shot straight down the throat of goalkeeper Hermansson again. And Spurs have been denied, but they're knocking on that door.
Yeah, Spurs are really turning it on now, aren't they? They're playing with a bit of a flair to them. I think Maddison's at the heart of that, as well, as we've said a lot tonight.
Chance to break maybe for Leicester City. Ball sent out towards the wide right position. Buonanotte, a deep ball to Jamie Vardy, who reaches and stretches, heads it into the air. Back there to help out his defence was Maddison. And Christensen battles with Johnson. Johnson loses out there. Ndidi, Christensen in the left wing position, flashes it through the 6-yard box. There's no one to finish it off. Kept alive by Fatawu. Back towards the back post. Vardy is there! Jamie Vardy with the equaliser 11 minutes into the second half. Popping up at the far post, heading the ball home from 5 yards out after the cross from Fatawu from the right side. He's so good, Jamie Vardy. He doesn't need a pre-season. He's irrepressible. He's evergreen. He's Jamie Vardy. 1-1.
Well, I didn't see that coming. I don't think any of us did. First real bit of quality from Leicester. That man Vardy, he's never going to miss from there. As Mark said, at 1-0, you're always in it. When the ball comes out to the right-hand side, it's a great little ball from Fatawi. He's inches onside. It's a brilliant pass. Vardy just sneaks off the back of the shoulder of Romero. Doesn't see him. 5 yards out. He doesn't miss those. But what a ball that was, Mark.
Yeah, I think when the first ball comes in from Christensen, I'm screaming, I want Fatawi in that back post, tapping it in with his right foot. But he hangs back, and the ball comes to him eventually, and he picks out a lovely ball to the back post, and Jamie Vardy does what Jamie Vardy does, and yeah, it's all to play for now.
104th Premier League goal since turning 30. No one's got anywhere near 100 before, but Jamie Vardy is a different breed. And now the atmosphere changes, and it was worth mentioning just a few minutes ago, Danny, when I said to you, the thing is about Leicester City, you just never know what's going to happen with them.
Absolutely, great spirit. And of course, when you look round this team, you know, they're not that inexperienced. 8 or 9 of them have played Premier League football before. So they know that if you stay in a game and you hang in, even when you feel like you're hanging on the edge, which they were, by the way.
Absolutely, they were on the ropes. But sometimes, sticking in it, you can still land a sucker punch. And it's 1-1 at the King Power Stadium, and all to play for with half an hour to go. And Leicester have a free kick, right side, which will be taken by Buonanotte, and he's decided to go for something rather ambitious and wasted the opportunity to get the ball into the box. He's just launched it high into the air, and it's
right
behind the way for a goal kick.
Shows his confidence. Probably watching Eza Palace the other day, although he was a bit further out than that.
Yes. Controversy abounds around that goal, but here, all of a sudden, Leicester infused, encouraged, and a spot of belief at the stadium that there's every chance that Jamie Vardy and his teammates might well nick something here. We'll give Tottenham just pause for thought as well, because they had it all their own way up until that point.
They did. It was a good goal. Very hard to do. I mean, Romero just switches off a tiny bit. But when you have that much dominance and you're in such good areas, you have to be clinical. You have to be ruthless. And Son and Johnson have been a little bit guilty of getting in great positions and not producing the final little bits, the final little passes.
Well, they've had their problems. They were linked with Reece Nelson. That didn't happen. They were linked with Norwich's Gabriel Sara. He chose Galatasaray in the end. Matthias Soule, Wilf Zaha, Adam Hlojek of Sparta Prague too. He ended up heading to Hoffenheim. A handful of deals that sort of seemingly were about to happen but never quite did for Steve Cooper and John Rudkin in the hierarchy. He very much lets them get on and deal with that and bring the players in that they think are going to be useful for the club. They haven't been able to do that as often as maybe he or the fans would have liked up until this point, but they are getting forward again, and Fatawu's just got the wrong side of a doggy, gone down, looked up, glanced at Chris Kavanagh. The referee has said nothing doing, but Leicester are on the attack. Here is Decordova-Reid, left side, drifting across into the box, looking for Vardy. It's away by Van de Ven, back in by Justin, picked up by Christensen, who just bumped Johnson off the ball. Back down the right it goes. Buonanotte's getting on it again, trying to turn away from Maddison, who drags him down. Free kick given. The momentum has shifted, Mark Albright.
Yeah, I think Leicester have got to take advantage of this. They've got to keep this going. They've got to keep the fans on side as they are at the moment. They've got to stay on the front foot. They're playing quick. They're winning the second balls now. It's just totally changed, and it's amazing what a goal can do in football.
72% possession for Tottenham Hotspur in the game, but Leicester are starting to creep back into it. They've been under the cosh for nearly an hour. They were under the pump after Pedro Porro's goal, but they've taken a quick free kick after equalising and sent it down the right to Fatawu's cross-led to the goal. That one wasn't a very good one. It's cleared away by Van de Ven, back in by Christensen. Fatawu's stayed out on this near side. He's chested the ball down, looks up, tries to spot Vardy. Again, it's a little bit too high, but Decordova-Reid will make the most of it. He keeps it in by the corner flag, being chased by Pedro Porro, the muscular full-back who went out there to try and challenge him. The ball goes out of play and away for a throw into the blonde-haired Victor Christensen, who, you were talking about players that have played in the Premier League before. He played in a Bologna team that got into the top 5 of Serie A. Here's Vardy, who's got hold of the ball from Christensen's long ball forward, chested it down, but Romero reacted and nudged it back to his goalkeeper, Danny Murphy.
Good defending from Romero. Great spell for Leicester this. All playing with a bit more confidence, all wanting the ball, all got a zip in their running without the ball, making Tottenham make mistakes. Can't even hear myself think.
Well, they've only had one shot on target, and that's the goal. They'll be happy with that. Justin swings across it. Again, it's heavy. Decordova-Reid makes the most of it once more. 13 shots, 7 on target from Tottenham, just the one goal. Leicester have only had 2, and they scored with one of them. Here is Solanke over on the far side, though, dragging Tottenham up the pitch. Gets away from Christensen and into an advanced right-wing position.
Lovely.
Back to Maddison.
Oh, forgot the ball.
He lost out to Ndidi. He escaped and moved away and then ran into Bentancur.
I think the Leicester fans are getting a bit frustrated around us for the amount of little fouls that the refs letting go. But again, behind the team, that's for sure. But that's the first time Maddison's had a bad touch in the game. Solanke did brilliantly down the right-hand side, picked out Maddison on the edge of the box. Did the old kicked his left toe before his right there.
And the first yellow card of the game goes to Bentancur. That's the first time we've seen Chris Kavanagh delve into his pocket. Ball flicked into the air, out on the far side by Pedro Porro. 25 to go. All of a sudden the game is in the balance mark.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more energy from Leicester. I think I said just before half-time or at half-time that I'd like to see Leicester lay more of a glove on, and I think that's what they're doing now. I think they showed Tottenham too much respect in the first half, and all of a sudden I think it's took the goal to lift that, but it's totally changed now, and there's loads more energy. They're forcing mistakes, they're winning second balls, and they're getting on the ball and creating things now.
VAR did check the possible penalty when a doggy collided with Fatawu, but confirmed the referee's call of no penalty, deeming any possible contact was outside the penalty area anyway. 25 minutes to go. You're listening to TalkSport. Vardy now on a run in between the two centre-backs, but Romero is quick and he gets it back to his goalkeeper. Van de Ven receives the pass on the edge of his area, turns and fires it out towards his near side. Across goes Buonanotte, gets in front of Ndidi, and again, they're just quicker at the moment and sharper to everything. Leicester buoyed by that goal from Vardy. Down the right, Ndidi goes a chasing, collides with Romero, slipped I think as he did approach the
it's amazing how
byline, and it goes out for a goal kick.
It's amazing how some high energy, some simplistic pressing, winning some duels, some tackles, some knockdowns can get a crowd going. And that's why now we see so many fans frustrated when they watch teams who sit off and don't do that, because it's probably one of the easiest things to do.
Yeah, it is. And I look at Buonanotte as well, and I think he's probably been brought in for his creativity, and he's on the ball play, but his work rate tonight and his effort to get the ball back when they've lost it.
He's got it back now. 10 yards outside the box, turning it into Decordova-Reid, then receiving it back just right of the D, played out to Fatawu, and Didi round the corner, should have poured it through the 6-yard box, decided to go for goal from a Hollywood angle. It was so acute, it was always going to be impossible for him to try and steer that end of the near post, and he hits the side netting, and Steve Cooper throws his arms up in frustration. Ange Postecoglou's a little bit frustrated, a bit discombobulated. He's going to make some changes. I think he's going to make 3 of them. Lucas Bergvall, the Swede, compatriot Dejan Kulusevski, and Archie Gray. The young players made a real impact in pre-season. I think Tottenham fans impressed with some of their performances, but he's calling upon them maybe earlier than he wanted to.
I think it's hard to play any Premier League game and not have a spell where you're on the back foot with the quality in the Premier League.
Here on the right side is Johnson. Johnson approaching the penalty area, taking on Christensen. He blocks the cross, it goes out to the far side.
Sam, he didn't do a trick, he didn't manipulate the ball or do a trick, he just knocked it and tried to cross it. Got to be a bit cuter and cleverer.
You've been frustrated with him tonight, Brennan Johnson, haven't you?
Yeah, because he's got more than that. It's not difficult for him to use his skill a bit more, it's a bit predictable.
Why is he not doing it?
I think he's just going too quick. Just needs to slow himself down a bit at times.
68 gone. You're listening to Talk Sport. It's Leicester 1, Tottenham Hotspur 1. And Talk Sport, don't forget, Sky Sports is broadcasting more football than ever before, and you can watch it without a contract with Now, including games like this. Tottenham away at Leicester City, live right now on Sky Sports.
That's 4
Just search Now Sports. 4 subs planned by Ange Postecoglou. Gray is one of them, Bergvall, Kulusevski. I think Timo Werner was getting changed as well down in front of us. So it's going to be all changed for Tottenham Hotspur. Leicester City have got a chance to break up another attack and spring forward. Winks gets it out towards the right-hand side. Feeds Fatawu, bends it into a dangerous area. And Vardy knew what he was aiming for. Didn't quite have the curl on the ball there to bring the Leicester captain into play.
Good. It's an open game now, isn't it?
Entertaining game, that is for sure. Tottenham maybe thinking that they can take advantage of that with these fresh legs, Mark.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think they've got a really strong bench, Tottenham, and this is where it's going to... Obviously Leicester have had their spell now, but Tottenham will try and settle it down, and then obviously with bringing these subs on, probably go for the kill.
Romero across to Van de Ven. Mavadidi's coming on, so is Samare. Ball in towards Son, who's chasing it, but Hermansen is quick off his line, comes out of the 6-yard box, out into the right fullback position almost to gather the ball up, pull it into his chest. So Mavadidi is coming on, Samare coming on as well for Leicester City. So we're going to have 6 new faces in the space of a few seconds. It's like... it's going to be Bentancur and Papsar, Maddison and Brennan Johnson, who come off for Spurs to be replaced by those 4 players that I mentioned earlier. Here is Winks into Decordova-Reid. Vardy's made a run down the left channel. He's fed by Buonanotte. It's Vardy! It's saved down low to his left by the goalkeeper Vicario. It's a massively important stop for Tottenham Hotspur, because Jamie Vardy, on the shoulder of the last defender, was bursting down the inside left channel. He was fed by Buonanotte, and he steered the ball towards the near post. It was a really good save by by Vicario, and it needed to be.
Well, Buonanotte is influencing the game more and more. It's a good move from Leicester, but those killer passes, those little bits of those magic moments, he's been full of them, and Vardy will be kicking himself because it's a great chance. Doesn't get it in the corner enough, and then Tottenham are broke now. We've got a corner to the other end. Yeah,
and it's going to be taken by Maddison, who's about to go off. Vardy's also about to go off, and so is Buonanotte.
What?
Here is the corner, sent as an outswinger towards the edge of the 6-yard box, and Tottenham did make first contact. But there is a problem here for Bentancur, who I think has suffered a head injury, which the players are very quickly desperate to get the medical attention on to sort out. It looked like a nasty collision involving Bentancur as the ball came into the box, and immediately there's a hush around the ground and the medical staff come spilling onto the field and running at rapid pace. Romero saying that he wants extra attention on from some of the medical personnel, and the St John's ambulance team's coming with a stretcher immediately, and further medical attention is arriving. Lots more personnel coming out onto the pitch to attend to the Uruguayan, who is moving but looks in serious pain, and someone now bringing on oxygen as well to try and deal with what is quite a serious situation involving Bentancur. And when you've got head injuries like this, you have to make sure you take all the care in the world. I think he collided with Fatawu, who is walking back holding his head at this moment in time. He needs to just get checked out to make sure he's okay too, if there's a serious issue.
I'm surprised Madison's coming off. I know different players are at different levels of fitness, but if you need a goal, big surprise that.
Jamie Vardy is just checking Fatawu, who I think got caught on the back of the head by Bentancur, or the other way around, but they definitely collided heads. And Jamie Vardy's just sort of said to the Leicester physio, just have a quick check of him, make sure he's okay before we make these substitutions. Steve Cooper is going to bring on Samare, is going to bring on Mavididi. What impact can those two players make, Mark?
Yeah, to be honest, Samare went out on loan last year, and he's come back this pre-season, and probably there was a lot of Leicester fans and people involved in the club that thought he would be one of the first to depart from the club. I spoke to Conor Cody not so long ago, within the first sort of 2 or 3 weeks of Leicester going back to pre-season, and he said that Samare was looking one of the brightest, the brightest in the squad. So that's good to hear, and the fact that he's on the bench today and getting his chance is obviously earned it. And I think Mavididi was huge for us last season, and really had an impact going forward. He's sharp, he's exciting, and he's got an eye for goal as well. So it's two subs that I think can impact the game.
Well, Samara was on loan at Sevilla last season, and he ended up coming back in the summer. He was in the Lille side that won the French League 4 years ago, so he is a player of some repute. He's coming on, so is Mavididi. We're still waiting for play to get back underway because of this serious head injury which has been suffered by Rodrigo Bentancur, who they were planning to replace anyway.
I'll tell you what I'm confused at. I mean, obviously he's hurt, but when there's a delay like this, normally you would see the manager get the players over and have a little chat with them, because they're all over the place at the minute, Tottenham. Get them in, give them a few little bits of advice, a few tactical things that they need to do differently, who's going to play where when the subs come on. But there's nothing. I'm gobsmacked by it.
Well, Steve Cooper was just speaking to one of his assistants down on the near touchline. Ange Postecoglou has sent another member of staff back onto the field of play to sort of get over and involved. There's probably about, in terms of medical staff, probably 10 medical staff surrounding Rodrigo Bentancur. 4 Tottenham players are there too. Harry Winks has gone over to check on the situation. The Leicester players spread out across the pitch. 3 Tottenham players on the halfway line. Perhaps are in deep conversation with Vicario, and those 4 white shirts stripped and ready for action, just waiting on the touchline. We are going to have a lengthy delay here, which means we might end up eating into a bit of sports bar time. When it does come about, you'll be able to have your say. 03717 223344. I'm not talking about the actual sports bar that you're obviously on your way to as soon as we finish here. I'm talking about the one that is hosted by Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy.
They won't be happy.
But Jason won't be happy after watching Chelsea yesterday.
Well, that's true.
And Jamie won't be happy if Tottenham don't get all 3 points from this game.
He sat up, that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's refreshing to see.
Yep.
The two sets of fans over on the far side are exchanging pleasantries. I think there's one or two little bits and pieces thrown between the two as well, which is a little bit unnecessary, but there was certainly a bit of discussion. I can tell you what's coming up over the next couple of days here on Talk Sport. Thursday night we've got Chelsea versus Servette in the Conference League playoff first leg. Alex Crook and Scott Minto will be available from 8 o'clock on Talk Sport 2, bringing you that Conference League game. Enzo Maresca trying to steer Chelsea through to the group stages of that competition. Friday night, what a game this is, by the way. Sheffield Wednesday, who thrashed Plymouth on the opening day of the season, then got thrashed themselves. And Danny Rose said afterwards, that's the championship. They take on Leeds on Friday night. Hugh Wozencroft in the chair, and commentary from Jim Proudfoot and Dean Ashton. Looking forward to that. I'll be at Brighton on Saturday with Reshmin Chowdhury and Darren Brent. They've got Manchester United visiting, and game day goes around the grounds with Troy Deeney and Scott Minto. Troy Deeney was excellent, I thought, on Saturday on Game Day Live. He was at Arsenal. He was alongside Adrian, Alex and the rest of the gang, and he was superb. And he will be part of the team again 2:30 on Saturday afternoon. We've got more live games than ever before, and we make sure we bring you the best football entertainment throughout the course of the week on Talk Sport. Rodrigo Bentancur is leaving the pitch on a stretcher. It's never a nice sight, but we wish him the very best. He had a horrible injury a season and a bit ago in ACL, which meant that he missed far too much football. He was very productive for Spurs before that and after that, actually, and the last thing that he would have wanted on the opening day of the season, a bit like Danilo at Nottingham Forest at the weekend, to be stretched off in the first game of the season is a killer.
Well,
really.
the only thing I'd say with Bentancur down there, and we're believing that it's somewhat more of a head injury of a clash, isn't it, rather than a knee or an ankle, which you would normally come back more quickly from, but fingers crossed anyway.
Werner on for Brennan Johnson. James Maddison has come off and he applauds all four sides of the ground as he was replaced by Dejan Kulusevski. Bergvall and Gray are on for Sarr and for Bentancur. Jamie Vardy's coming off, standing ovation, and I think he wants to take the captain's armband and give it to somebody else. He comes off to be replaced by Mamadidi Samari on for Buonanotte. Bit of breaking news from Brighton and Hove Albion. You may well have known that they activated the release clause in Leeds United's Jorginho Ruter's contract. They have now acquired Jorginho Ruter. He has been posing for photographs. They've confirmed the signing of Jorginho Ruter.
I think Romero and Vardy were having a row then, because Vardy gesticulated to the Tottenham fans. He not a particularly kind gesture, and Romero took umbrage to it, so they were having words. Not sure there was any need. I mean, Vardy had done his work by scoring.
There's a surprise. Jamie Vardy having a few words and Christian Romero reacting to something. Yeah. I mean, the two most unlikely events of the evening. If there was a bingo card, we probably would have ticked both of those off at some point. 1-1. Buonanotte, I think, has had a successful debut in a Leicester City shirt.
Absolutely.
10 minutes to go, but there will be quite a lot of stoppage time because of that injury to Bentancur. Here is Samare getting stuck in nice and early, and Didi was there too. The ball spills out to the far side, and Timo Werner, who's taking the position of Brennan Johnson down on that right hand side. Traditionally really likes to play off the left, really, Timo Werner.
It's amazing how many times last season Postecoglou changed both central midfielders. He likes doing that a lot.
Here is Werner picking the ball up on that right hand side. What can he come up with? A decent ball into Kulusevski, but Winks read it and tracked him as he moved into the inside right channel and managed to clear. Mamadidi takes the ball up, tries to run it clear for Leicester City. Does a little trick but doesn't quite come off. Bergvall wins it, and it comes off of Christensen and goes out on the far side and away for a throw in at Tottenham Hotspur. I mean, all I'm going to say is Lucas Bergvall looks like a Swedish man. You know exactly what he looks like in your mind's eye now.
Handsome, athletic,
and blonde.
Yes. Started well, actually. Some lovely touches from him.
Yeah, he's actually done very well in pre-season, and they've got high hopes for him. Ball out on this near touchline. Son takes it in, 2 yards in from the touchline. Then back infield it goes, into Van der Ven, across to Romero, into Lucas Bergwijn, quickly out to Timo Werner. Werner scurries forward, stretching was Kulusevski but picked it up, managed to keep hold of it, then ran into De Cordova-Reid. He's in a right angle inside the penalty area as Leicester try to defend it. That pop of a hand from Ndidi, the referee didn't give anything despite the appeals from the Tottenham fans on the far side, and then Romero gets tackled and ends up sort of body popping with Mavididi, and the ball goes out of play over on the far side. Free kick, I think.
It's like a move we saw from the Australian breakdance in the Olympics from Romero.
Don't get me started on that. Here is Werner, away by Fass, picked up by Bergwijn, won it back high up inside Leicester territory, right side, and then Archie Gray sees it back into the centre circle. It'll be interesting to see where they use Archie Gray. He was used in a variety of positions by Leeds United last season. I mean, he's another one who's very tall and athletic and very strong for such a young age, Archie Gray. Ball in towards the edge of the penalty area, taken down by Udogie, won by Son, left side of the box, shepherded out of it by James Justin. Back in field it goes towards Gray. Gray allows it to run across his body and protects it from Winks, and then sends it back in the centre circle, gives it to Van der Ven. Romero and Tottenham are out the other side again. Good touch by Werner into Pedro Porro. Porro trying to turn back into Werner, left by Kulusevski, flick to Porro in towards Solanke, tries to turn around the corner, back into Kulusevski again, might come to Son at the far post. Oh, it would have been a Hollywood goal. It would have been a Hollywood goal from Tottenham Hotspur. Flicks, tricks, the lot. It was like watching the Harlem Globetrotters.
It was a brilliant, sustained play, some nice patient build-up. The momentum's changed since the injury, since the substitutions. Tottenham back on top.
Corner, Bergwijn, deep towards the far post. A little glance from Vestergaard maybe that sent it out towards the corner flag. De Cordova-Reid will stop it from going out. He scurries over to that corner and then turns and fires it as far away from the Leicester goal as possible, and the Leicester goalkeeper Hermansen was just like, move up, get up the pitch, get out the way, don't drop deep, don't invite pressure. If they were to escape here with a point, it would be a golden start.
Yeah, it would.
It'd be a fantastic point. I think the problem they've got now is not to drop too deep, like you just said there. I think they need to sustain what they was doing. Tottenham have got the fresh legs. Obviously Leicester have made a couple of changes. Mavadidi's gone up as a 9, which he didn't do last season.
Here's Son down the left in towards Kulusevski. A low ball into Solanke, trying to turn, gets it back to Bergwijn. The shot is blocked by Fass. It pops into the air and it's grabbed by Hermansen. Yeah, well, he came off the bench actually when Daka was injured in the Lens game last week, didn't he, Mavididi? And went up front instead of Tom Cannon, which surprised one or two.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think obviously you've got Tom Cannon on the bench, who's a ready-made striker, but he obviously sees something in Mavididi in pre-season where maybe his pace or his strength that why he prefers him to Tom Cannon. But it'll be interesting to see. It's obviously you've still got, I think, Casey McAteer's coming off the bench as well, so fresh legs there.
Batawu in a tangle with Gray, going to be a free kick. It's about this time we should probably point out that Leicester City scored more goals in the final 15 minutes of games in the Championship last season than anybody else.
It's good to know.
Winks with a free kick on this near side after the foul on Fatawu by Archie Gray. And they're going to make a change here. McAteer is coming on, and off comes Bobby De Cordova-Reid. Another one who's had a reasonable debut, Danny Murphy.
He's done okay. Yeah, he's done okay. Grown into the game as of Leicester. I think they all looked a bit nervous first half. They all were a bit sensitive collectively and individually, not particularly brave on the ball, but he's definitely grown into the game and has some nice touches, yeah.
Casey McAteer off the bench to get involved. Last goal was the title clinching win over Preston at the end of last season. He's a graduate of the Leicester youth system. He joined the club age 8. Now he's playing in the Premier League for them. Here is Winks to take the free kick. Wide on the right-hand side, about 10 yards outside the box. He delivers it to the far post. The header is back across the face of goal. It drops right on top of the net. What an introduction that would have been for Casey McAteer, who came in at the far post, launched a header and back across the face of goal, and it landed on the roof of the net.
Yeah, it was never really troubling the keeper. Would have been some first touch.
Ball upfield very quickly to Timo Werner, who quick release into the centre, looking for Solanke, steered away by Wout Faes. Both Tottenham and Leicester would love to get a late winner here. Here's Kulusevski rolling the ball under his studs, a low cross into the box, blocked by Christensen. Across comes McAteer and clears, but only as far as Bergvall. 4 minutes to go plus stoppage time on TalkSport on the Monday Night Football. Here is Kulusevski trying to get round the back. Across comes McAteer, half clears, it goes out for a throw-in. Well, it's all hands to the pump whenever Tottenham come forward. And Leicester City know how difficult life is going to be, how life has been difficult over the summer. It might get even worse if they get their points deduction that everybody's expecting. But Steve Cooper managed to achieve almost the impossible when he was in charge of Nottingham Forest. Kept them up when everybody else said they were going down. Can he do the same with Leicester City? It's a great way to start. Here is Kulusevski, edge of the D, out wide towards the left. Son just hesitated and allowed Justin to nip in front of him and pinch the ball.
He didn't hesitate, it was a poor touch, really poor touch. So unlike him.
Van der Ven, challenged by Soumare, loses out. Fatawu skips past the challenge, runs into traffic. Solanke dropping back to win the ball. Might get a bit ragged in the closing stages here. 1-1, Ange Postecoglou urging his troops forward. Pedro Porro is hobbling.
Ange just told him to get up and get on with it. I love that.
Here is Udogie, out wide towards the left. Son takes over now. Can he get into the box? He gets the return pass, plays it against Ndidi. And then it breaks for Fatawu, just kicks it clear out on this near side. Anywhere will do for Leicester. If they can hold on to this point, it will be so precious.
Bergvall's been outstanding since he's come on.
Well, he's only 18 years of age. He signed for £8.5 million from Swedish football. He is making his debut tonight off the bench. He's certainly made an impression on Danny Murphy. Here is Mavididi, lovely take and turn. He runs it down the left-hand side, conspires with McAteer, gets towards the edge of the box, feeds it towards Ndidi. Across comes Kulusevski, getting back to help out his defence, and just about hooks it away from the Nigerian. That would have been some counter-attacking goal. 2 minutes to go, 1-1.
Tremendous from Kulusevski. I saw him busting a gut to get back for his team. They're the moments. It was given away in wide area. Werner gave it away on the right hand side, just a cutback. Some lazy, sloppy wide areas. Tottenham have been poor tonight.
One of the major websites did a survey of Leicester City supporters and asked them how they were feeling ahead of the season, and 69% of them said pessimistic. Well, after tonight they might be a little bit more optimistic. First half was tough. They could have been 3 or 4 down at the break. They maybe should have been 3 or 4 down before they equalised, Mark Albrighton. But they've shown a resilience which is synonymous with this club.
I think as well, like you say, the way that they play, and that they're going to want to go for the winner, and I think it's going to leave gaps. There's going to be a big amount of added time added on for the injury to Bentancur, but I think the gaps that they will leave and the risks that they take, there's always a chance there.
Well, they've given the ball away again. Fatawu trying to get it out of his feet. Harry Winks has got it now under pressure. He's given it away to Kulusevski, who's turned it over, but Fatawu is there. And McAtee should be favourite. He gets in front of Pedro Porro, who's still hobbling a little bit, and then Mavididi uses his body brilliantly to outwit Romero. Pedro Porro's got to be a little bit careful, gets it back towards his goalkeeper. He's still hobbling over on the far side. Jed Spencer's going to come on for him. They can make 2 subs here because of the concussion sub that withdrew Bentancur.
Hey, good memory, good spot.
Here is Romero.
Why you get the big bucks, Sam?
9 minutes of added time. That's because of that injury to Bentancur. Might have been a difficult game for Spurs to start their season away from home on the opening night under the lights at newly promoted Leicester City. and they've given the ball away here, and Mamadini's picked it up. He's slalomed towards the edge of the penalty area, then produced a cross. Ndidi with a header, and what a save out to his left by Vicario. Extends his arms and turns it round the post and saves Tottenham and spares Ange Postecoglou's blushes and those of Lucas Bergvall, who gave the ball away in the right full-back position. Mamadini took advantage with a cross into the box, and Ndidi almost scored. What a moment that would have been. Mark Albright.
Yeah, I thought he had a chance to put it across early on. I think Samare was in there, but he's delayed it and he's picked out a lovely pass to Wilf Ndidi, who's just couldn't get enough strength on the header.
There wasn't enough pace on the ball for him to what now. It's too. Well, he took Son off. Richarlison's on for Son, which maybe could have done a little bit earlier, but he's still got 10 minutes, Richarlison.
Yeah, well, 7.
8.
Winks is going to take the corner though, and Leicester are on the attack here. Going into stoppage time, Vestergaard and Fass are up from the back. Ball in the quadrant, a low ball into the near post, steered behind by Richarlison. Winks is not happy about something, but that delivery, not entirely sure it was what he was after. He's barking instructions. He's quite prepared to take his time as well, by the way, before taking the corner. Pedro Porro still walking around the pitch. He's finally met up with his boss, who gives him a high five. Hopefully he's not too badly injured. Here is Winks in towards the near post. Only half pick, comes back towards Justin, who cracks it goalwards, and it's blocked by Jed Spence. And Tottenham, who were vulnerable from set pieces at the end of last season, it's a little bit troubled there. The doggy sending it out towards this near side.
Keeper! Where's the keeper when you need him?
What was the communication between the two? They're both Italian. It's not like they don't speak the same language.
No, but he should have been higher and just come and caught that. Lovely, took the pressure off his team.
Well, neither of them communicated. The ball ran over off a doggy's head and out towards this near touchline and away for a throw-in to Leicester City, who are building an attack with Fatawu on the right side, trying to pop it maybe a little bit too precisely through the legs of a doggy instead of putting it into an area. Archie Gray tidying up for Tottenham Hotspur. Kulusevski picking it up now for Spurs. They're trying to escape, but Justin won't let them. The ball's out of play. It's away for a throw-in on halfway. The application in the second half, Mark Albrighton, from Leicester City has been superb.
Yeah, I think the fact that we're sort of 90th minute in this game, 93rd minute in this game, and we're still in it after the first half an hour that we saw is unbelievable. And I think anyone could win this now. This could go either way.
Werner chasing into the right corner, does well to get there ahead of Christensen. Feeds Jed Spence, who has hardly featured for Tottenham Hotspur since signing from Nottingham Forest. Here is Bergvall getting towards the edge of the box, half clear, comes back to Archie Gray. Gray tries to thrust it forward. McAteer blocks it, gives it to Kulusevski inadvertently. And Tottenham build their attack again with Bergvall, edge of the area, right side out towards Werner, trying to get to the byline. Across goes McAteer again, does brilliantly, dispossesses him and thunders it clear.
The one thing Tottenham haven't done second half is put as many crosses in.
Yeah.
They're trying to work it really intricately through these little gaps, and it's a bit like a needle in a haystack at times with so many bodies back there for Leicester. They haven't really swung too many crosses in. Obviously we had the goal first half, the Solanke header. We haven't really seen that type of cross come in the second half.
Ball clipped forward again in towards Solanke, who hasn't seen as much of the ball in the second half as he did in the first. And Vestergaard getting back, plays the ball against the former Bournemouth striker, and it goes on a play for a goal kick away to our left-hand side. Well, Ange Postecoglou, I think, will be charged with returning Tottenham to the top four. Has to be the focus, has to be the plan. Pochettino made Champions League football staple diet of the Tottenham calendar. He finished in the top four times in his last 4 seasons, but since then they finished outside the Champions League places in 4 of the last 5 years. Daniel Levy didn't build that stadium to play in the Europa League. Now we want to go away from home and pick up points at places like this, if they are to finish in the top 4. Steve Cooper was just conducting the orchestra down in front of us as Spurs fashioned another attack which ends with Hermansen having the ball in his hand. I think when he looks back at this, Steve Cooper, he'll be very happy with the way that they've applied themselves second half, and feel that it's a platform to build on.
Absolutely. Resilience, staying in there, digging in when you're being dominated and you're on the back foot, says a lot about the team, and then to get themselves back in the game and then stay in it and still compete and break and have the energy, and the subs coming on and doing well as well, that'll please him. Competition for places, I think there's lots, especially in the second half, for him to be pleased about. And for Tottenham, a bit the opposite. They've started well, but just let the game go a little bit.
Faded, allowed it to drift a little bit.
It should give them a huge amount of confidence going into the next game and the coming weeks, because I thought half an hour after this, the first whistle went here tonight, I feared for them. I really did. I thought Tottenham could have been 2, 3, 4 up. So the confidence that they should take from coming back into the game and really making a game of it, and fingers crossed coming away with something.
Leicester off to Fulham next week, then they welcome Villa here. It's Palace away after the international break, before Everton, Arsenal away, and then Bournemouth here. Spurs have got Everton next week, then they go to Newcastle. The North London derby is Sunday the 15th of September, then they play Brentford before trips to Manchester United and Brighton. It's not an easy start.
That's a hell of a start.
And they're only going to emerge from a trip to the King Power Stadium with 1 point, unless they can turn the tide in the final 2 minutes. Here's Spence into Archie Gray in the centre of midfield, deep inside Leicester territory. Back it goes to Christian Romero, who looks up, needs a bit of movement. Solanke provides that, drops deep, links the play well, plays it into Jed Spence, but the Belgian Wout Faes was there to watch, and he gets it out and clears it to the far side. 90 seconds to go. Leicester only involved in 4 championship draws last season, the fewest draws in Premier League and EFL, and the only championship team that went throughout the season without a 0-0 last year. They don't draw many games, Leicester City, but they're drawing this one, and they'll be delighted with it.
He's up.
Well, Wout Faes went steaming into Kulusevski. Kulusevski went down.
Why didn't he let him try and play on?
And then Wout Faes did too. He went down the right-hand side, Kulusevski, stumbling forward, but maybe not in complete control of his body or the ball. And as a result, Chris Kavanagh's pulled it back, given a free kick over on the far side of Wout Faes.
He can bring it back once he's finished the play. He's in. Just understand the game, understand.
It was the same at Brentford the other day, weren't it? It was the same at Brentford with the Eze free kick.
Yeah, well, Kulusevski wasn't happy about it. Well, he's just blown a little bit too early there, Chris Kavanagh, maybe. And that will disappoint Kulusevski. It will disappoint Postecoglou, actually. We've now only got 30 seconds of stoppage time remaining. This set piece could be the game right here. Leicester have got to concentrate. Nerves fraying in the Leicester end.
Is that Bergvall taking it as well?
Bergvall taking it over on the right-hand side. Almost all of the Leicester jerseys are inside the box to defend this one. It's aiming towards a dangerous area, and Richarlison flicks it over the top. He got 3 at the near post, got across his marker, but misfired the header over the bar. And surely now, Leicester will get their point.
Should have done better. What a ball from the young man.
Well, it was a curling, arcing ball in from the right side from Bergvall, perfectly pinpoint placed, right on the edge of the 6-yard box, and Postecoglou knows that Richarlison should have done better with that. If that had been Solanke, maybe it would have been 2-1 to Spurs. But instead, after a settled summer, Spurs are stifled on opening night. Leicester City Football Club were written off, made favourites for an immediate return to the Championship, crippled by the constraints of PSR, but you never know. There might be life in the old Foxes yet. Steve Cooper hasn't had much chance to replenish his squad, but clearly he has worked with what he has. A valuable point against Champions League chasing Spurs, a first half when they could have been well out of the game. They rode the storm, came back in the second half. Jamie Vardy with the equaliser. It changed the game, changed the atmosphere, changed the result. and it finishes Leicester 1, Tottenham 1.
And the sports bar is coming up, 03717 223344. Ange Postecoglou, when that chance was missed at the end, was staring at the ground. Could not believe that they'd missed a golden opportunity, and not just that chance, the game overall. Spurs so dominant in the first half. Had they gone in 3-0 up, it wouldn't have been a surprise. It was 1-0, Leicester stayed in it, they whipped up the crowd second half. Steve Cooper got the crowd going, Jamie Vardy did what Jamie Vardy does, and listen to the Leicester fans now as the players go around and take the applause from those in the stands. Those Spurs fans away in the corner opposite probably can't believe what has happened. And Danny Murphy, you have to say, second half, Leicester deserved something from the game, I thought they just grew into the game second half, and as soon as the goal went in, their confidence lifted. Every one of their players got some more energy. They started wanting the ball more, they started believing in themselves more. Mark said it in commentary, it's amazing what a goal can do in a game to the mindset of a team and an individual. Tottenham will be annoyed at themselves because they were really good and they got themselves in brilliant positions, and with the quality they've got, they should be better in that, and that will really annoy the manager, because very rarely in the Premier League are you so dominant in a game, and it should have been done really by half time. But when it's only 1-0, you never know, and Leicester probably on that second half performance deserve a point. I'd say that as well. Mark Albrighton, listen, you were here, your first season at Leicester. They were virtually relegated. They were down, won 7 of the last 9 games. And that's what Sam was talking about in commentary. There's a spirit here in this modern era where they never, ever give up. And it was still there tonight. When the game looked lost, they got themselves back in it.
Yeah, absolutely. I've seen it year and year here at this football club. I think that was the most disappointing thing in the year that we got relegated. There was no fight, there was no spirit, and that goes against everything that this football club's about, and that's why it hurts so much. Tonight we showed it in abundance in the second half. First half, I think they'll all admit they were below par. They didn't give a good account of themselves, but full credit to them for coming out second half and giving it a right go. I thought Buonanotte was absolutely fantastic. Vards gets his goal. There was second half. There was bright sparks all over the pitch. Abdul Fatawu came into the game a lot more and caused problems because he was a threat. I thought Casey McAteer, when he came on as well, did some great defensive work when he was needed. So, like I said earlier, they should take massive confidence from that going into the coming weeks.
Steve Cooper, big smile on his face. He's just had a laugh with his arm around Jamie Vardy. He's got his arm around Harry Winks as well. He's certainly got something going here. In terms of Spurs, though, Danny Murphy, the likes of Son just didn't turn up tonight. I thought it was like a 3 out of 10 performance, really.
I think in wide areas he struggled. I thought Maddison was terrific. I thought Solanke had some good moments, but he's waiting on service from wide areas, and every time they got in good positions, service didn't come. But the majority of their play was quite good. They got a bit stretched second half. It seemed like they didn't get any control of the game when after Leicester scored, nobody started dictating and organising people. It was ended up like a cup tie at times, which you don't really want, when you're the senior team and you've got more experienced players. But the one thing I tell you what, tonight he will be annoyed because of the dominance, especially the first half. But the performance of the young Swedish lad when he come on, whoa, there's a player there. And I tell you what, not just his nice little passes and taking the ball off people and being confident. The last minute of a game, I'm telling you this from someone, and you'll have done it, Mark. All the senior international players on the pitch, he's the one saying, I'll put the free kick in the right area for us to try and win the game. And I'm telling you, that takes some courage.
And what a ball it was as well.
Yeah.
It was, and who knows, maybe had somebody else been on the end of it could have gone in. Time now for us to pick our man of the match with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
Man of the match on TalkSport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever the mission, home or away, Enterprise helps over 120,000 people every day.
Danny Murphy, Mark Albrighton, a little bit of a board meeting between you two. Who's going to get man of the match?
Well, I haven't spoken to Mark about it. It would be a toss-up between Maddison and Buonanotte, sorry. Possibly for over the night. Well, the longer period of dominance was Maddison, and the moments that got me off my chair. But being the home man, if he wanted to pick Buonanotte, I would understand. I think he was the Leicester player standout, wouldn't you?
I think he was definitely the Leicester player standout. I thought he was the only bright spark in the first half, and then I think most of what Leicester created in the second half came through him. But also, I do agree with you. I thought Maddison was tremendous tonight throughout. When it's the 65th minute and he's having a bad touch on the edge of the box, and you're saying that's his first bad touch of the night, it goes to show what a good performance he had.
I have to say as well, I was surprised they took him off.
Makes me wonder about fitness levels. I don't know, but
maybe. But I tell you, the best way to pick man of the match, and I think I would go Maddison, is if you turned up here and you didn't know either team or any of the players, and you said you can choose one of the players on the pitch to take home. Yeah, it's not take home, that'd be weird. Not to take home with you, to take to your club. It would be him.
Danny, you're brilliant.
You know what I meant.
I absolutely know what you mean. Shall we go with James Maddison then? James Maddison. The Leicester team probably deserve it as a whole for their comeback, but in terms of man of the match, James Maddison is our man of the match from today's game with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
Man of the match on TalkSport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Enterprise has vans of all shapes and sizes, so if you've got a plan, we've got a van.
Mark O'Brien, final word from you very quickly. Leicester, that has given these fans belief. You could hear it at the end, couldn't you?
Absolutely. I think that second half performance, play like that most weeks, more often than not, you're going to stay in the league, and you're going to give a great account of yourself, and weathered the storm first half, stayed in the game, and I think that's going to be important. Stay in games. Don't be beaten before you even get a chance to lay a glove on, and that's what they did tonight. They stayed in the game, and they got their just rewards in the end. And I think over the course of the 90 minutes, game of two halves, it really was, and I wouldn't say that that's not a fair result.
Mark, it's been great having you with us on TalkSport. Thank you very much. And you can go home and listen to Taylor Swift. Danny's taking James Maddison home with him. We won't ask any further questions there at all. Danny, thank you very much. Same old Leicester. They never gave up. Vardy scored again, of course. Same old Spurs. Look very pretty in places, but lack the kind of stuff needed to see the job through. Isn't it so good to have the Premier League back on TalkSport? It's the Sports Bar next with Jamie O'Hara, Jason Cundy, 03717 223344.
Monday game night on TalkSport with Ladbrokes. Get money back as a free bet up to £10 if one leg of your Football 5 Plus acca lets you down. Pre-match straight line accas only. Odds are 3-1 or greater. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
You don't just check in to a village hotel. You work out. You jump in. You play on. You tuck in. And drink up. Village Hotels. 33 locations with everything under one roof. A huge gym with pool and great membership opportunities. And a buzzing pub and grill with delicious food, ice-cold beers and live sport. Check out villagehotels.com and work out, stay, meet and play.
Settle down for a night of crime. Witness a heist. Follow a car chase. Eat too much popcorn. Meet a mafia boss. Join in on a bank robbery. Think about making a cup of tea. Be too comfortable to get up. For less.
Selected IKEA sofas are now at a new lower price, along with thousands of other products. IKEA, the wonderful everyday.
Screwfix Sprint delivers from store to door in 60 minutes or less. So, whatever the job, you can do it with less hassle and more hustle. Less pausing and more pressing on. So don't break your stride. Screwfix Sprint. Order now exclusively on a Screwfix app. £5 delivery charge, no minimum spend. Don't stop. Sprint. Conditions and geographical restrictions apply. Selected products.
We all fantasize about our perfect home. Watching the big game cozied up in the snug. Balmy summer nights with the kids playing on the lawn.
We're playing real life football!
But come on, this isn't real. Listen, if you're serious about making your fantasy a reality, find out what your home is worth instantly with a free online valuation estimate. Get real about moving. Get on the market. Most common time to obtain an online quote between 1st of April 2024 and 30th of June 2024 was under 3 minutes. Excludes Northern Ireland.
It's McDonald's 50th birthday. So, to get you in the party mood, we're turning our ad breaks into dance breaks. Okay, you start with your left hand behind your head and you put your right arm stretched out in front of you. You're then going to bring these two arms together and do 3 pumps. You can then switch sides and feel free to add a little enthusiastic nose scrunch as you go. And there you have it. You've conquered the sprinkler. McDonald's 50th birthday. You're all invited.
At Betfair, we believe that to play different, you need the right tools. The boots, the world-class tactics, the science-backed nutrition. The pros have their tools, and with Betfair, so do you. Our safer gambling tools work just like the right pair of boots, designed to keep you on top of your game. Open the Betfair app to equip yourself so you can bet at your best. Betfair. Play different.
18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
Now that football is back, you're going to want to follow every kick, goal, card, and transfer as soon as it happens. So from Ipswich back in the big time, to Villa in the Champions League, and City going for 5 in a row, you know where to go. Follow it all at thesun.co.uk.
Monday game night on TalkSport with Sky Sports. Stream more Sky Sports football than ever before. Available with no contract on now. Like Leicester versus Tottenham live tonight. Search Now Sports. 18 plus. Screen via internet. Terms apply.
On 1089 and 1053 medium wave.
Online,
On your mobile.
on the app.
And on your smart speaker. Talk Sport.
On 1089 and 1053 medium wave. On DAB, online and on your smart speaker. The Sports Bar on Talk Sport.
All right, fans, here we go with the main event of the evening.
Good evening and welcome to the Sports Bar on Talk Sport. I'm Jamie Horan, alongside me is Jason Cundy.
Has anyone seen the backup on how good as a bar? No, I have not.
Tottenham draw their opening game of the season away at Leicester. Great start, but couldn't see the game out. Should have been 3-0 up. And Steve Cooper gets them back on track. Are you encouraged by that, Leicester fans? We're also taking your calls on all of the weekend's action. Just to remind you, Chelsea got beat. An absolute shambles of a start from them. And they've signed more players to sort it out. They're a joke. Everton had a disaster. Brighton were good. West Ham, be careful what you wish for. I want to hear. Where's David Moyes when you need him? Can't defend. 03 717 22 33 44.